Hello.
Hey, Joe. Welcome.
Great, good line.
Okay, good evening and welcome to Queens Community Board 2 Transportation Committee meeting. It's June 2nd, Tuesday, 2026. My name is Riley Owens. I'm the chair of the Transportation Committee. I am joined here by Rafael Nava, who runs this office. What's your title on
Community coordinator.
that? Community coordinator. Congrats. And I am joined by committee members as well as people in this room and online. Thank you very much for coming. A couple things on our agenda, a couple of presentations from DOT. We're going to start with public comments. Is anybody in this room here for public comment? All right.
Yes.
All right. Is anybody online here? Excellent. What's your name?
Hi, my name is Haley Collins. I
Just say welcome. Public comments typically we'll say 2 minutes right now. So if you could say within 2 minutes and then we can ask further questions if need be.
Okay, great. My name is Haley Collins. I work at the NYCHA office located at 2402 49 Avenue in Long Island City. And me and some coworkers just wanted to bring to your attention a crosswalk that's located at about 2123 49 Avenue. I already emailed with Teresa at Julie Wan's office about this. It's in need of some repainting, which we did get some word that DOT will repaint it. But my coworkers wanted to point out that cars don't stop for it very often. Apparently, there used to be some cameras there that are now gone, and there's no curb cuts, so it's not accessible. So we just wanted to raise this issue. We're really happy that it will be repainted soon, which is great. But just longer term, we might need some more done to make it safer. And one other point that I think might be related is that outside of our building, there's a three-way intersection, and there is a crosswalk there, but it's kind of past our building. And so I think that's why a lot of people try to pass at this other crosswalk where the Long Island Railroad is. And I think that three-way intersection kind of affects the flow. So for future traffic planning, that could be something that helps the safety, is if we somehow figure out that intersection too. But we just wanted to bring it to your attention. So thank you very much.
Sure, thank you. Did you say that was 2123 49th Avenue?
Yes, 2123 49th Avenue, Long Island City.
All right. So this is on the eastern side. I see on the satellite map that there's no crosswalk. That it's gone. All right. We have DOT here, so if they can take note.
Yeah, I know we spoke with Councilmember Wan's office earlier today about that. And this was already previously reported for markings refresh, and also we did repave that portion of 49th Ave. So there should be the replacement of that crosswalk on the eastern side of that intersection very soon.
All right.
I guess I can speak now.
Thank
May I
you.
speak, please?
On this issue?
Yes.
Oh,
Not
sure.
that exact issue.
Oh, the
but
same
another
exact issue.
I live at 4831 38th Street. My name is Francesca Perron Vaccaro. We have a situation on our block that has become unbearable. During the Van Brenner's rain, they tried to fix it. We are desperately needing speed bumps on that block.
Okay, so what
The
block?
hours in the early morning, the traffic is horrendous. I mean, they change the.
Can you just tell me again what block it is? Are you talking about the same
Between,
thing?
no,
No, okay.
38th Street between 48th Avenue and Greenpoint Avenue.
38th Street between 48th Avenue
And Greenpoint Avenue. It's the entire stretch. We are unable to come out of our driveways. The cars are speeding. They're not at 20-25 miles. They use it like a race course.
Okay,
I've spoken to Julie Wan, I've spoken to Teresa several times. She told me the DOT was gonna be at this meeting. That's why I want to represent the block, but We're
look at it, yeah.
when they fixed the curbs at 48th Avenue, there was a sign years ago that said no through traffic. When they fixed the curbs, they must have taken the signs and just tossed them away. Those signs should probably be replaced.
Okay,
And like I said, they tell me that they can't put, the DOT says they can't put speed bumps because it's not commercial area. There's commercial at the corner of 48th Avenue and there's commercial at the corner of Greenpoint Avenue. We have 3 schools in that area. The children, if a ball goes out the street, you know what happens. It's common sense. The child runs after the ball.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we agree. Thank you for pointing out the street. We'll talk to DOT about what should be there, what might be missing from there, and
They repaved that
study.
street
Mhm.
about 4 days ago. There was a sign at the end of the block that said school, no speed bump.
Yeah,
Makes no sense.
all right. All right, thank you. Thanks so much. What was
You're
your name?
welcome. Francesca Perone Vaccaro, V as in Victor, AQUERO.
Okay. Thank you so much for your comment. We'll talk to our
Thank you.
DOT reps about that. Right. I have somebody online, Mariette. And Haley, thank you again for your comment. We'll again keep looking into that. Thank you.
Yes, hi, good evening. I'm Mariette Booth. I'm a Hunters Point resident. I'm an avid jogger, also a City Bike member. I emailed Raphael, who recommended that I attend this meeting. On January 13th of this year, I was struck by an e-bike on the pedestrian side of the Queensboro Bridge. I was thankful that neither one of us were as injured as I unfortunately am now injured, and I am now facing surgery later this month for that injury. I am here to request more clear, visible signage for the pedestrian-only side of the bridge. Since then, I have been I jog across the bridge quite frequently, and I have seen still e-bikes and scooters on the pedestrian-only side.
All right, thank you so much. I'm very, very sorry for your injury. That looks not very nice. I'm sorry for that. It has been a constant issue to keep pedestrians off the bicycle side and bicyclists off the pedestrian side. And signage has been one of the major issues of the last year since the sides got split up. I'll ask, I'm not very familiar with the pedestrian side and what signage is.
I am more than happy to submit the photos that I have, and as I frequently go over the bridge, I'm more than happy to continue and document.
Sure, thank you. Any suggestions you might have right away for DOT, or should they study it?
As of right now, it does not appear that the signage for the bikes is not large enough. So right now it almost just looks like they're blocking for actual vehicles to not be allowed to go through. And then even on your entry, either from the Manhattan and also from the Queen side, there needs to be additional signage, signs, and also painting, on the actual pavement itself.
Okay, thank you so much, and thanks for visiting us. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Teresa.
Hi, everyone. Apologies for the noise in the background. I'm actually at the new playground on 39th with my son. So thank you to everyone who came out. I did reach out to a couple different constituents who are having these issues on some blocks where there are kind of like multiple overlapping issues. It's not very clear it's clear that it's not just one single solution or approach to it. So just here to say, if anybody has any questions, you can always contact our office, District 26 at council.nyc.gov. I may actually be able to come in person in a couple minutes to you guys as well. But just wanted to chime in here because a couple of people that I've spoken to previously have joined either in person or virtually.
All right, yeah, thank you so much. Thanks for listening to the constituents and sending here as well. We love to see street by street, corner by corner, what needs work. Jonathan Suarez.
Hey everyone, thanks for letting me speak. Not to belabor the point, because I know DOT is already there and they're already going to be speaking on it today. But just wanted to, once again, call out that we are having the same issues in Hunters Point South with drivers driving up onto the greenway and parking their cars in the bike lane on the sidewalk. And I am looking forward to hearing what DOT has for us today. Hopefully, something to address that issue. And again, I know it's a point that's been talked about a lot. And just to show an example of it, you can see here, the car blocking the bike path, blocking the greenway. It looks like officers are actually there right now to address the issue, and hopefully they'll do more than they've done in the past. But yeah, we really would like to see something done about that sooner rather than later. I just don't want to see anyone get hurt, and I always fear that that's an inevitability if people keep driving their large motor vehicles onto a place that shouldn't have any motor vehicles on it.
Yeah, thank you so much. That was a live view of it right now.
Correct, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Thank you for keeping that up, and keeping our attention on that. That's something that we've asked to be improved in the past, so I hope it does get improved. Thank you. Anybody else online with public comments? All right. So are you here for a comment? Public comment?
Sure.
Yeah, all right. 2 minutes?
Okay.
Yeah, what do you know? Yeah.
Okay. I have similar concerns with what I see going on in this community board area, this district. Particularly a street, sidewalk hazard. The company called MAC Cement on 30th Street, just up the street from the community college, LaGuardia Community College. They've been there for about the last year operating new on a very small space that they really shouldn't have been even given approval. So they're abusing the space by having these giant hoses they use to offload stuff from their big trucks to deliver the materials that they make the cement out of. And they leave them on the sidewalk in a way where they either block the sidewalk completely, or even if they're laying on the sidewalk, you could easily trip over them. They're gigantic hoses. You could go over there anytime and see what I'm talking about. It's a very unsafe condition for pedestrians, particularly an elderly person or a kid that's not really going to maybe see it in the dark or something. So I just figured I'd put my 2 cents in with that. My concern, of course, as you must have seen my proposal, and that's only a first draft. I have a second draft coming up very soon. And I have a highlights of the proposal that I'm printing up and presenting on Thursday to the general meeting.
Okay.
Along with a whole survey of issues of why my proposal is superior, because all of the funding that's popular now and promoted as such, what would be good for a park, I hit every base. Every issue is in this proposal. So it's stellar for getting support, and I will reiterate it on Thursday. I have inroads to what's going on with the negotiations of the oil companies, and they desperately need to be greened. They're being forced to put millions of dollars into cleaning up Newtown Creek, and the city is also liable because they did do some pollution themselves. So there's a project to make everybody happy and green everything and make an enormous contribution to this local community, create dollars for the city government, and to bring people from all over the city and all over the world, because it's that special. So I do want to promote that. I'm concerned with the transition from DOT to parks, that window where they have to do all that work on the highway, which is definitely needed because that highway is literally falling apart. I have the chunks of metal that comes down. Okay. I'm concerned that DOT it's made clear, please respect the larger trees that are left there that we want for the park, to not come in and chop them down, blacktop everything, and just, take over in such a way where they're not considering the future. So that's one of my concerns. I guess I shouldn't hog any more time.
Oh, no, that's all right.
I'm open to any questions you may have to.
Remind us your name?
Doug Corman.
Doug Corman. And you had sent your proposal to the office? I don't think I saw it. Did it come to me?
I sent it to the gentleman that Carlos told me to send it to. What is it,
was that
Raphael?
Yeah, that was me. That was the environment
Yeah, but
committee.
he didn't get it?
I don't think we did, no,
Okay,
no.
I'm gonna have on Thursday printed color copies of, let's say, half of the proposal, 20 pages, it'll be
Awesome.
10 double-sided, and there'll be full color pictures to show you exactly what this is on a highlight. And then there's another document that's coming, that's the greater version of the one I sent you, that, you know, I needed more time to enhance it and to make it better with more pictures and more description so people can really see. And then there's a companion document called Spheres of the Earth that shows all the spheres all over the world. But the most important thing is that spheres, as buildings you go into, started right here in Queens, in the 1939 World's Fair with the Perisphere, which sat exactly where the Unisphere is now. So we're bringing it back to Queens. We're gonna probably engage the Dolan family to create a sphere like they have in Vegas, but on a small form, because they want to, their business model involves smaller ones to make out throughout the country. They are making 2 more big ones, one in Dubai, one in London. So they're gonna keep making the big ones. They spent 2.3 billion in Vegas, which is absurd, but it's the hottest thing in Vegas right now.
All right,
So-
so I'm gonna have Raphael send that to
Yeah,
me. So
I'll
be
give you
prepared for
lots
further
of
feedback.
information. You're gonna have
Yeah.
lots of
It
information.
sounds like, yeah, well, it's good to see you again.
Because
man.
you
You're,
asked
of
me to
course,
give you a proposal, well, I'm giving you a superior. proposal.
Yeah, just for everyone in the room, you're speaking about the space beneath, the Long Island Railroad at Newtown Creek, which has, been derelict, but local community members such as yourself have improved it, and turned it into what could be a potential parking. You want to make sure that the city doesn't blacktop it and take that.
The future Dutch Kills Community Park.
All right, thank you so much for coming.
Okay.
And we'll look into the Max Cement issue as well, see what's going on there. Anybody else online? Was there somebody who said something? If you,
Kevin's nice, yeah, do we?
all right, Kevin, if you have a public comment?
Yes, hello. Yeah, it's my first time attending here. And I had a couple of places to suggest where there should be crosswalks.
All right,
Uh,
excellent.
Is this a good time to do that?
Sure, yeah.
Sure. 2 places on Woodside Avenue, and one is on 55th Street, at 55th Street. There is a crosswalk at 54th, but I think there should be one at 55th to cross over. There's an entrance to Doughboy Park there. And the other one would be at 62nd Street, and that's near the entrance to Track 4 on the LIWR. And there isn't a crosswalk to cross over to the other side of Woodside Avenue.
All right, great. Yeah, thank you so much. We'll talk to DOT about it. I know we have maybe some kind of plans for what's happening on Woodside Avenue. Sounds like that.
All right.
But yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Brian has a question. Robert?
Sure, Brian, you have a question? You're muted at the moment.
You can unmute.
Hi,
There
sorry
you go.
about that. This is also my first time attending a meeting. I was told to attend because there'd be discussion about parking down here in Hunters Point South area as well, with all the new buildings that have gone up and the bus extension, bus 101, 103 extension. We've lost a ton of public parking. And I was just curious if there were any plans to maybe add some public parking areas like Malt Drive itself with the 2 new buildings on either side. There's no parking on either side of that entire block. I just was wondering if that was discussed at all or is being discussed by.
Sure, so right after public comment, yours may be the last, the Department of Transportation is going to present a couple of presentations. I think the second one is about parking in that area.
Oh, perfect.
So if you stick around, you'll see.
Cool. Great. Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much. Thanks.
Appreciate it.
Liz?
Riley, can I ask you a quick question?
Sure.
Would it make sense for me to make public comment about area that needs more visibility for an intersection? Or should I wait to the section when we get?
You can wait, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because we're gonna discuss with Joe and DOT about
Okay.
some things, yeah. Bless you.
I had allergies, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
That's it.
Great, I think public comment is
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, thank you so much to everybody who attended and commented. We will document and work on that. All right, excellent. So as I said, DOT is here to do a couple of presentations. Joe Petty is our representative with his team. So I give it to you, sir.
Yeah, so first presentation, Rocco, real quick, if you could give sharing privileges to Elaine also.
Yeah,
course.
Yeah. Yeah, so
Oh, actually, I just requested.
yeah, while you're doing that, I'll just get started real quick. So the first presentation is gonna be from our policy team. I'm joined here by Elaine Patrick from our Commissioner's Office. And they're gonna be talking through kind of an existing program we have at DOT right now. It started off as a pilot program for public e-bike battery charging. So a lot of you know that big hot topic is, e-bikes and safety around them, especially with fire safety. So they're gonna be talking through an existing program we have, which involves having cabinets on the street where you can swap out batteries for charging. And we're gonna be expanding that program, which originally started in Manhattan into Queens now. And so they're gonna be talking through both the program and some of the proposed locations of it. And I'll leave it to Elaine to start the presentation now.
Great. I'm not sure if I should be facing this way because the camera's there. Do you want me to sit up?
If you wanna, yeah, sit right here and
Yeah.
the cameras, I mean, it's a presentation anyway, so they won't see you, but you
Yeah.
can have a seat.
That's fine, no. I'm curious about this, so. All of that.
I'm also with my colleague Patrick.
Hi.
All right, well, thank you, everyone. Really glad to be here, also in person today. My name is Elaine. I am the program manager for public e-bike charging at DOT. And yeah, as Joe was saying, we're presenting on this new program that was announced last November, and we're getting started with, public engagement that goes with it. So I kind of just want to start off with, the main challenge here. New York City, in the past couple of years, we've really seen the lithium-ion battery crisis become really big issue. In fact, this has caused over 900 fires. So, we talk to FDNY very often, and what we have learned from the results of all of these fires is really there's two primary reasons for these fires. The first one is uncertified and low quality batteries, and the second is improper charging. So, what did DOT do so far about this problem? In 2024, we had a pilot, and we tested a pilot on e-bike battery charging technology. And we piloted this technology over in New York City and asked over 100 delivery workers who are the primary audience for e-bikes, at least currently in New York City, to test them out and see how they liked it. And what we learned is that not only they tell us that this technology was convenient and easy to use, but they also mentioned that many mentioned that they completely eliminated the need to charge at home. And I think that's like a very important aspect to this program. Workers also shared with us that they would be willing to pay for this service if they were located in key areas and if it reduced their battery-related expenses. But of course, we didn't just ask these workers about, the technology itself, but we also just wanted to know about, how they kind of do their job. And one of the things they've mentioned is most delivery workers will carry a spare battery. And they're pretty heavy, right? So they keep it in kind of staff rack typically, and they need it for, the lunch to dinner rush swap out. But, workers are also just trying to take care of their families and themselves well, and they're worried and want alternative solutions too. And of course, another point is that they're faced with just landlords telling them that they can't charge indoors anymore. So they're faced with that. Also, I did realize my audio is off, so let me just turn it on Zoom. Or is it?
Oh, no, it's
picking you up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
We get a bad echo if you kept that on.
Yes. Okay, so what is the program that we're talking about today? We received $3 million in grant funding to place 25 of these certified battery swapping cabinets in New York City. And the bulk of this funding is really going to pulling out the electrical connection for these charging stations. So we're not procuring any actual equipment. You can see on the right side, this map just shows you, our general project location area. And the way we've defined this is a couple different reasons, but two main ones, which is like, this is where most deliveries are actually happening in New York City. This is data from the Department of Consumer and Worker Protection, and it shows kind of where, those popular sites are at. And here, Long Island City is really a big hit as well. But additionally to that, this area is where a lot of e-bikes are being used. Kind of as you go further out into the boroughs, more mopeds or cars are being used for deliveries. So we understand, you can't just have one program fix everything, and we don't believe that that can never be true. So what we're doing at DOT is really like multiple streams of how we can get to e-bike safe. First, of course, is education. We have a delivery worker course that we released a couple of months ago, and that is really to help educate users on safe riding practices and also fire safety, like how to charge a battery safely in the safely. The other thing is, of course, DOT needs to build out that critical infrastructure, bike lane expansions. As you see, have become really popular. And of course, just acknowledging one of the core issues, which is delivery app companies themselves incentivizing these workers to ride as fast as possible, right? To just be able to make the money they need for this, right? So DOT currently is working actively with City Council to do just that. Now, what exactly is this cabinet technology? The transaction takes less than 60 seconds, and what you do is a delivery worker would use their phone, which they typically work off of, scan a QR code, return a depleted battery, and get a new fully charged battery. So the actual transaction is very quick, and then they would go along their day. These images here are from our pilot program a couple of years ago. And in addition to this, like, what do these cabinets actually have? These are certified cabinets, and what I mean by that is, this UL standard we're going to keep referring to is a nationally recognized fire safety standard. So it's not just FDNY saying they'll approve this. It is, a nationwide thing. And of course, have fire safety features, including fire containment. That means that if there is a fire, worst case scenario, of a battery in the cabinet will actually contain that fire. So include that, plus also just being weather and theft proof. We also will have battery monitoring, battery health monitoring. So, once a battery is in the cabinet, they'll indicate like, oh, this battery has any issues. If it does, we can know that and take it out of circulation and put a good battery back in the circulation. So this is more of a proactive approach as well. Lastly, a last point I want to say here is that this program is meant to be financially self-sustaining. Users will have to pay a membership fee. We want to keep that price affordable as well, but that will help with the maintenance and operation costs of the program itself. So now getting into just like, how did we select some proposed sites, which we're pitching to you guys today? Certain things like, being in areas where deliveries actually happen through that map, and also just on areas with wider sidewalks. Those are priorities. And then, of course, keeping clear from things like fire hydrants or bus stops. Another big consideration is that we understand pedestrian flow is so important. So making sure we keep that space clear, accessible, that's one of our priorities. So just upfront, a couple of considerations we kept in mind. Congregation, because this technology really takes less than a minute to use, we don't anticipate people congregating in these areas. And also, these are going to be in areas where, workers are probably going to their next, whatever next thing they have. And from our pilot program, even though Cooper Square was a really popular location, we did not see much congregation as well. in that specific area. Most people actually would prefer to go to somewhere shadier with benches. I already mentioned clear path, and on fire safety, we have been talking with, fire department and will continue to talk with fire department throughout this entire process. And of course, just on the aesthetics and appearance, we want to make sure we integrate well with the natural, streetscape in New York City. So you will see this big map now that has a lot of sites. We are not choosing all of these sites, but we are pitching them as places as we kind of went through all the clearances to you all. Sorry. Okay. Yeah, only 25, approximately 25 of these locations will actually be selected. So going into how we, this is not one of your guys' sites, but just as an example on how we look at clearances, you know, there's that 10 feet from the fire hydrant, 3 feet from tree pit, all tree pits, making sure we maintain that clear path and keeping clear of any entrances, and a ton more clearances, of course. So these are 2 sites that are in the district, and I'm just gonna pass through these 2, so we've been, I'll pass through these 2, and then we can swing back to these slides, but this one, 44 Drive and Jackson Avenue. So it's in front of kind of one of these zones, and then the second one on 11/10/26 near this, bike lane. So in terms of just timeline, the last 2 slides I'm going to talk about here. So right now we are going up to community boards, talking with you all, getting your public feedback. We opened a public feedback portal in April, and we intend to close it at the end of July. But until then, we really want to go out and, like, you know, your guys' thoughts on these locations, and also if you guys have suggested locations, we are taking those as well. So I will end on that. Happy to answer any questions, and thank you so much.
Great, thank you so much. I think this is exciting news. I appreciate it. Questions are for committee members.
Oh.
Sorry, yeah. We'll see. But let's get to committee members first. Patricia.
You said 25 sites. Is that Queens wide, District 2 wide? What?
All of the citywide. So only 20,
Citywide,
yes.
25 sites.
Right, and
Citywide.
and we only pitched a couple sites, or those 2 sites that I just showed you in your district. But we are accepting just locations as well.
Randy, you had a question?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's one, I fully support this. This is really exciting. You know, as somebody who both uses different mobility and you sometimes uses apps that, you know, our neighbors deliver to, this sort of way of safely recharging and keeping them safe is great. I think a question I would have is I'm always concerned with the additional street furniture that we put in our public realm and the amount of space we put on the sidewalk. Can you talk a little bit about the opportunities to start building out the sidewalk into like bump outs and things like this so that we can get them out of the pedestrian way?
So for this project, we are, all of these sites will be either on sidewalks or plaza areas. I totally take your point though about trying to build out sidewalk. I mean, I can't really answer that too much because that kind of is a little bit out of this wheelhouse, but I will say that I think that would add a lot of capital costs. So it's kind of balancing being able to get these as quick as possible because they're very important, and also balancing like how to really integrate them nicely with, you know, the streetscape. But I take your comment and I will.
And just to jump into Patrick from DOT, a big part of the site selection process for these initial sites was finding wider sidewalks that didn't have as high a pedestrian activity where it seemed like this furniture could be safely accommodated, that users could pull to the side, access the cabinet without obstructing pedestrian flow, and also along the curb line, not creating too much of a wall. So while with this project, like Lane's saying, we probably can't add additional bump outs, we're definitely trying to locate these in places where they won't block the pedestrian experience.
Sure, Isabella.
I'm concerned about both of the sites chosen. For the Jackson Avenue one, folks tend to come up that curb and park their e-bike on the sidewalk when they're going to that Sweet Green location. So I think my biggest fear is that it just encourages people on e-bikes to park it on the sidewalk, which they already are sometimes doing, you know, when they're running in and out. And then it's like adding this additional blockage, which is close to the curb cut. Also for the 11th Street, that's right by a public park. So you have like a lot of children and people walking their dogs and really in slow modalities. And then encouraging, again, like someone who's cycling faster at a higher speed to save that time, they could again just like pop up onto the curb with their bike and change it there. So that could lead to potential like collisions and crashes. I just think they're both very, very highly occupied spaces, as some of the others in Ford Square.
Good morning. First of all, I'm so happy to hear that you're doing this project. It's very much needed and it's great to see. I'm also really encouraged that you're gonna do this public engagement. I hope that you're gonna really amplify that a lot. I know the community board will probably try to get the word out there so people can participate and suggest, as some of my colleagues have already started to suggest some locations. I think that'll be really important. I know even just for in this part of the district, you know, there's a ghost kitchen, whatever they call it, the one Uber has, or used to be founded by the guy who started Uber, Jason Kopernik, or whatever his name is, on Skillman, which because it's a ghost kitchen, it has a lot of e-bike riders over there. So there might be some places like that folks are suggesting. I have a couple questions though, that I just want to throw out there, and maybe you can just answer the ones that you have answers for. One would be, what are the next phase? Because you already talked about that you did a pilot, and then after the pilot, you came up with 25 locations. To me, 25 seems painfully small for a city of 9 million almost. And I wonder also to that effect, what kind of learnings were there from, or did you look at any other municipalities in this country or outside of this country that are doing similar programs, and how are they making sure that it's effective? And I also gather that this is only for commercial drivers. It's not for consumers. You have to be a member, part of it. And is that being paid by, you know, say, you know, the commercial entity, or is it being paid by the individual riders? I think that those are my main questions.
Yeah, no, thank you for your questions. On the next phase, yes, we do understand this is not a grand project in terms of like, we would love to see a lot more of these out. Getting funding for that for this has been difficult. So yes, we are aiming to expand this for sure. In terms of other municipalities or programs worldwide, a couple of the pilot vendors that we use have global markets. So one of them is based, at least on the pilot, is based in Berlin and kind of in the European market. You know, this battery swapping technology there and also in Asia is super popular. So we know that there is, you know, an economy that it works there. On the public versus commercial users, this will be available to the public, but for a membership fee that is paid by the individual. I will say that at least right now, what we've heard is, you know, some of the companies out there are charging a couple dollars per day to use this. For someone who uses this on a daily basis, it would be worth it to them. You know, if it's maybe for someone who doesn't use it as much, we're trying to still figure out, you know, if there can be any like payment system for users that might just want to use it once in a while.
And how does the battery work? Because do you have to buy your own extra battery and then you contribute it to the system and then you're swapping out, or what your membership fee covers and you just get it, take that and swap out? How does that work?
So as part of the membership fee for most of these companies, they will supply you with a battery. All of these, of course, will be certified batteries. And so everything in the circulation of whichever vendor we choose will be kind of monitored in a way where it's like, oh, we know how many batteries are currently circulating.
One quick follow-up question. You made a comment about, you know, these vendors from, and the Berlin example, et cetera. What did DOT itself learn, or did it not, or did it look at these other municipalities and how they were running their programs? And did you all learn anything about what could work effectively here in New York, or what wouldn't work, or, you know, whether it's adding street furniture to the sidewalk, or what kind of locations work better? Any learnings from that, or not, it wasn't looked at?
Oh, we are still looking into it right now, and doing kind of that research side of things. So, once we gather more information, I would be.
Yeah, we'd really like to know, yeah.
Interesting.
To bounce off what Maury was asking, as far as publicity for this, in order to get back a survey from the public. I mean, I didn't know anything about this, so did you reach out to, you know, agencies that I'm thinking online, like Gothamist or the city, or, you know, I didn't even know hard copy agencies that people will become more aware of what the program is, because it's only, you won't have the portal until July. So I don't know how many replies you've gotten so far, but you want to get a substantial amount of people in order to get other ideas, like, you know, of where to go or what may be a problem.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. In the beginning, when we launched this and a press release, there were a couple news articles on it. And so we would like to get out more, but what we're doing actively now is kind of, you know, this outreach where we're going to you guys, to also help us spread the word. And we're also meeting with advocacy groups with the bids of the areas that are applicable and things like that. So we are making our way through a lot of the different organizations.
But something more public that will just like spit out to people.
I will take that note.
Do you have like QR codes and images that you can give to the office so that they can give to all of us, and the whole board can circulate that, and people can post on Reddit or Sunnysiders Facebook group or whatever?
Yes, definitely. And this is the code.
Facebook or
Oh, there.
Facebook.
Yeah, if you have a digital media can share it, that would be great.
I have a couple questions. I didn't realize there was a universal standard battery size. I felt like a lot of companies I've seen have proprietary batteries. But I do see delivery workers often have the same size battery. Do you have to buy a special bike from a special company to have a battery that fits this?
Right.
A bike that fits this battery?
Right, so you're right, especially on that first point, that there is no universal battery. That is, correct. And also that I think our target is, what we've noticed is that there is, a pretty, understood, I guess, bike, or many different bikes that delivery workers tend to use. And as we're selecting the vendor, we definitely want to make sure that their battery technology is applicable and can actually be suitable for a wide variety of those bike options. But yes, it will not be for any.
Okay. As far as safety, automobiles hit everything. An automobile is going to hit one of these cabinets. What's going to happen? The
Yeah,
fire will be contained, but it's 20 batteries that got damaged.
right. So I mean, part of it is we do have the cabinet itself is it's tested to be set on fire. So like through their certification, they actually have to know like what will happen if these terrible things happen. So one, they are being tested for those terrible things, unfortunately, or fortunately. But in terms of vehicles, we are still working with fire department to ensure that we have the right protection in order to make sure that they remain safe.
You often see when a business sells propane tanks that it's behind bollards, like it's more protected than anything in the city. Would bollards be a good idea for these?
Yeah, I think that's something we're considering.
There are definitely potential circumstances where you want bollards. We often use bollards in particular when things are behind, like angled back in parking, because that's an instance where vehicles often kind of overshoot and that creates risk. In other circumstances, with a lot of these, we're trying to put them, like, for instance, the 44th Drive location, the Jackson Avenue one, it's on the other side of already a pedestrianized bike corral zone with the flexible delineators that already sort of like offsets it from vehicle travel, and that provides a buffer that makes it a lot less likely that a vehicle is going to hit it. In that case, we might not look at additional bollards just for it. But these like design specifications will ultimately depend on the technology that we procure and the ongoing conversations with the fire department. So we'll
Yeah,
keep
I would
that.
like to know what happens when it gets hit. Because you said flex posts, flexible delineators.
Yeah.
Yeah, like when all the striping disappeared from Skillman Avenue and other streets, you see immediately things get destroyed.
Yeah.
By vehicles. Tree branches, a crosswalk signal got destroyed, like vehicles hit everything.
Vehicles
They're
hit
gonna
everything.
hit this.
It's a risk we have to be actively planning for.
Yeah. And then finally, we've often asked for something like this for the last several years in front of our shelters in our district. Because a lot of those residents do make deliveries and they are not allowed to bring batteries inside the shelters. So they had a conundrum. So this is something that was suggested by members of our committee long ago. So it's nice to see it happening. And we would suggest that sites for this should be in front of the shelters.
Yeah, and if you have particular sites you'd like us to look at, please send them.
Sure.
Along with them in the portal.
All right.
How do you know when you're running out of batteries?
So the cabinets are constantly charged, the batteries, right? So while there may be only like, I don't know, I don't have the specifications on how many exact batteries, let's just say there's like 12 in a cabinet. Even if one person takes it out, another person, in a couple hours, that another person could just use it. So it's, in terms of demand, the vendor will need to, of course, control like the supply and demand to make sure it's actually used.
It doesn't have a shelf life, a battery.
Oh,
I mean, it could only recharge like 5 times before, it's no good anymore.
Oh, yeah, okay, in terms of battery lifespan, no, yeah, batteries can last a couple of years. And of course, if these are constantly used, probably less than that, but that is the vendor's responsibility to keep up with the, a suitable program for us, right? So, we will make sure that like in our fee, we write to make sure like that's not happening.
I mean, they would have to check them out and make sure that, I mean, somebody's gonna take out a battery that has like, 3 hours left on its life, and get stuck somewhere.
A couple things on that, just one of the really helpful parts of the system is, there's an app that the users are looking at to see which cabinets have batteries in them. Generally speaking, it can tell you how much battery life is left in those batteries. And they won't generally represent a battery as available if it is below a certain charging level. And then to the sort of like total lifespan of the battery, a really good part of the program is every time a battery is plugged in, the cabinet's scanning it to determine its, kind of status, its battery health. And the companies are responsible for taking damaged or faulty or just like too old batteries out of the system, replacing them with new ones. And that's a really important way to reduce fire risk.
All right.
I have a follow-up question because before I drop electric car, 2021 to 22, charges there, how many minutes to the full charge the battery? The bike.
What I've heard so far is around 34 hours.
4 hours, no charges.
Yeah, I mean, like,
When the install, I think, puts like a supercharger, the 1 hour people gonna go and set the time, maybe you're gonna benefit. If it's 3 or 4 hours, people gonna waste the time. If it's possible to change the system, like supercharger, then people gonna help to more people getting more service. 3 or 6 hour block at one point, other people are waiting because I have a lot of experience before I drop the car, I do a lot of power, I do the message, I will Glendale, then the charging, I go to the courthouse, What I was a very supercharger, 1 hour to finish, but other place on the street, all slow chargers.
Yeah, I guess one thing is that at least this program, at least for the user, will only need to swap out their battery, so they're not waiting for the charge to happen. So maybe that is one distinction, but I will look into like the superchargers.
And also, how the costing right now, we will charging them.
How much it costs?
Yeah,
Yeah, so what I've heard so far from a couple different vendors is that it would be a couple of dollars per day, so around like $70.
okay.
Yeah. You said just one question?
Yeah, no, that's okay.
Okay. Yeah. Randy.
Yes, this is a question and maybe a request. If you haven't done this yet for the RFQ or RFI, can you add the requirement that the vendors capture and publish the charging cabinet data, including like any of the like numbers of batteries and things like that that's happening in data to the city's open data portable or open data portal in a machine readable format, much like City Bike does? That's really useful for researchers and things like that. And it continues to feed the open data ecosystem. And I'd love for you to add that as part of the RFQ for the vendors.
Thank you for your comment.
Also, just a quick comment about, I don't know if when you're doing the requirements, maybe you said this and I missed it, but it would be useful, like with City Bike, to know, how many available batteries are there. So someone doesn't go somewhere to go to pick up and then there's nothing there. Or like you said, it's slow charging. So this cabinet's got 4 batteries, but they're all like, you need an hour. If I'm a half an hour away and I know there's gonna be a couple of them ready in 20 minutes, and I can go and hopefully get there in time.
Yeah, I think that is our intention.
Okay.
No.
All right. And maybe, Doug, do you have a quick question with no discussion? Or did we say?
No.
Yeah?
This is an amazing thing to me, because it was unthinkable back in my days with pedicabs and electric pedicabs that I was promoting as the president of the Drivers Association and board member of the Owners Association. So this would have been great back then. And now all the pedicabs, almost all are electric. So I was wondering if you were accommodating electric pedicabs, because they're in wide use now. Where I got banned because of the law, and then he changed it, and I lost my business over it. It's a terrible thing. I had really great electric pedicabs. So the other thing that I'm concerned about is I don't hear discussion of augmenting the power charging with solar. Are you looking at that? I would imagine. How are you treating the idea of having some solar trickle charge on these batteries?
All right, thanks, Doug.
Maybe I'll take the pedicab one. I'm actually not familiar with the current sort of regulatory landscape around pedicabs, so putting that part aside. Technically, if they use the same type of battery as the most common e-bike models, the Aero 9, Aero 10 compatible batteries, then they would be able to sign up and exchange batteries through the system. I'm not familiar with how that technology works. So.
Would you have a place for them to charge near Central Park?
There are battery swapping cabinets that we're proposing all around Manhattan and community boards 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So possible that would work out. But again, I can't speak to the compatibility of those technologies.
All right, thank you. And if you want to just finally speak briefly on if solar panels work on these things, or it needs more juice than that.
Currently, yeah, no solar panels right now. It does need more juice. But I will take a note. Thank you.
Sure. All right, thank you so much. I think we're good. We're done. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for your presentation. As I said, it was very exciting for me, and I think everybody else is excited. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
While we're doing a trade over before the DOT's next presentation, we have one more late public comment. Who had been in contact with me before. Is that Jillian?
Hi.
Hi.
Thanks for inviting me. I wanted to check in. I had already written to you about traffic in the corridor, the 21st Street corridor, but also basically in 2 directions, either going to the LIE or coming off the Pulaski Bridge. We live in between those two blocks, and we see a lot of excessive speeding, excessive aggressive turning. And so I had written to the community board because I was in this street. There was a parked moving van creating a lack of visibility, but several vehicles almost hit me, really did not check, did not hit their brakes turning from 21st onto Jackson Avenue. One was a charter bus. And I sent the number of the charter bus to the police. I did all the due diligence. There was absolutely no follow-up. And this has just been a recurrent problem. And so I'm sort of at a loss as like what else we can do. We have little kids. We walk to school using these streets, and they do. I think people use it as a shortcut to get on the expressway. They're mentally already on the expressway. They're not paying attention to what they're doing, and we do need enforcement because that is the only way people are going to stop. And then after I had sent this note to you, we had that horrible accident on the Queensboro Bridge, which actually where my husband rides his bike all the time to work at the exact same time. And it's a similar issue of a lack of enforcement. So I'm coming to register my concern and my desire for increased enforcement, both in these corridors, but also, you know, I'm interested in what else, you know, targeted enforcement on these streets, but also like, are we looking at Intro 244? What other kinds of issues, what other ways can we address traffic that I think since COVID has really gotten out of control?
Yeah, thank you very much. And you had sent an email to us, and I think maybe it got shared with DOT, but if not, we'll make sure it does. Would you remind me, just say again, the specific corridors?
Yeah, so we live on the corner of 21st and Jackson Ave, on 47th Avenue. But then also, so there's, you know, people coming down 21st Street, sometimes on Jackson, right where those two converge, and then it's like 2 or 3 blocks, and then you get on the LIE either direction. People are rushing to get there or coming off, and mentally they're just not off the expressway, or, you know, they don't realize they're on community streets. And then the other place I really see it is coming off the Pulaski Bridge. People are coming downhill. They get green light, green light, green light, and they just fly, or they don't, and they just fly through. That Jackson Avenue crossing is really long. I see people stuck in the middle of it all the time with vehicles flying, kids in the middle of the crosswalk. And there's just it's a really obvious place where, I mean, somebody could just sit there and write tickets all day and make a whole bunch of money. And there's no enforcement.
All right, thank you so much. I think a common denominator with this and with the Queensboro Bridge crash is that when it's a straightaway, the people just tend to really, really speed. So coming over the bridges in our district, these small bridges and big bridges. So we have to look for a way to slow them down. And we'll talk to DOT here today about that.
I think it's also basic, sorry to interrupt, but it's basic traffic rules. Like it's also turning. So people turn from 21st Street onto Jackson Avenue, which isn't a hard turn. So they don't slow down. Don't think they have to, you know, it seems like I encounter a lot of drivers who don't know that they need to yield to pedestrians.
Yeah, and that area and Jackson Avenue, that whole area has been on our radar for a long time, and something that we need to focus more on, intersection by intersection, on how to improve everything. We've asked for universal daylighting for everything. I know DOT says that doesn't fix every intersection, but I think it is a tool that can help a lot. So I don't know if we should ask for corner by corner how to do it, or just a blanket, let's daylight as much as we can. But thank you so much.
Are there ways to get sort of like additional either observation of these spaces or enforcement operations of these spaces?
Yeah, I know when we speak to Joe, our DOT rep, about any particular place, they open, if you open a 311 case for it and send it to our office, we'll see that a case gets opened, but we can also just talk about it and see if the case gets opened, where they can study it. Sometimes studies take a while because they have to look at it over several months or years. And sometimes they're part of a larger project that maybe improves the whole area with hope.
I think even like local police or traffic presence, not all the time, but every once in a while would slow people down because it's a lot of the same people every day.
Yeah, and that's another thing is enforcement, which we have seen, you know, not always there, where we need it. So we'll send your letter, make sure your letter gets sent to the 108 precinct as well.
Yeah, and we're also in constant contact with the precinct, so it's an area we could focus on.
Okay.
We're gonna be, meeting with the anyway too.
Yeah.
That's definitely good to know.
All right, thank you. And I know the whole Court Square pedestrianization project is right there on Jackson Avenue, and maybe this committee will have to look at Jackson Avenue and see what we think the community needs, and definitely hearing from the community is great for that. It's not what we think the community needs, it's what we hear from the community.
The street that she's called, the street that she's talking about is the.
Thank you, I'm sorry. Thank you very much, Jillian. Couple of comments in the room. I will say public comment is over and the
But he
meeting will
came
go
late.
long,
Could you
but
just
you
hear
have come
him?
late.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. So you're just saying that he has a comment?
Yes.
All right, quick comment, what is your
What
name?
she's saying is the 21st, that's a BP station, that's where the post office is, I work for the post office.
Oh, you
You know
do?
exactly what she's talking about.
Yeah,
My concern is, where I live in 38, been living 33 years. I spoke to Teresa twice in 1 month, my catalytic converter was stolen. The DOT, the second one, the DOT driver was going by, and this thief, they were guiding him to go past us. I thought the DOT or anybody in New York says, if you see something, say something. Nothing happened, so I filed a complaint with Teresa and Julie Wan. We opened a case with the precinct, police came to look at the video, nothing happens. I reported on my block, the pole, the light pole is out. It's been what, 2 months? It's still out. They're stealing motorcycles, they're stealing all kinds of stuff. Car fly down the street because when they changed the pattern 37 and 36, they did it, towards Queens Boulevard, used to come down to Hunters Point. Now everybody flies down on 30th Street, disregarding kids and everything else. What does it take for the city to put either speeding cameras, a red light cameras close to the Greenpoint Avenue, or a speed bump? We filed with Bumpriner years ago. I was his mailman at one point.
yeah.
Oh, he's, I'll take care of you. Yeah, I'm still waiting for it. He took care of his people when he lived on 46. He put twice bumps on the same block, every block. But he forgot about me, okay? It's been a nightmare, okay? Stealing police comp, can I see your video, please, your surveillance video? I told him, son, I ain't gonna give it to him, nobody even knows access. There is no camera, the only camera from the NYPD is on 44th and Greenpoint. Down, all the way down to Greenpoint Avenue, good luck. There's assault, I always get the text almost every day, 0.25, 0.50 from your home, I keep getting every single day. Okay, nothing happens with the DOT, nothing happens with the city. DOT is completely worthless, no offense. Okay, but that day with that guy, that guy really pissed me off, the city employee
Yeah.
on duty. All you gotta do is, okay, when you get to the corner, call 911, suspicious activity, okay? No, he went through like nothing, the guy guiding, but they with the truck, they lift up the car. There was someone underneath the car, you think they're fixing a car at 4:30 in the morning? Come on, let's be realistic. That's what I just want to tell you guys, because otherwise, like I told the NYPD, I would take medicine to my hand. And then I deal with the police. That's what I get that. Okay, I don't want to say stupid, but they said going postal, but if I have to defend my property,
Well, hold on.
I'll do something.
For sure.
I'll do something stupid.
We understand your frustration. I would
Like I
rethink
said,
your meaning.
surveillance cameras or speed bumps, either or the two of them, because there's nothing from 44 all the way down. And you guys are both of them, PS 199, 47th Street, 48th Street.
Yeah.
You got,
Can I ask, sorry, to yes, the community board is a good place to bring these problems. Like I said, a lot of times DOT improves things on a grander scale than block by block. And there are ways to do it, like you said with Jimmy Van Bramer, and I assume you're talking about Sunnyside Gardens and Sunnyside north of Queens Boulevard, which we have pointed out is an area that has received many safety improvement treatments, whereas south of Queens Boulevard and Sunnyside has really seen nothing.
preferential, nothing other thing.
Yeah, so we have asked for safety improvements in this area, including the same kind of bike lanes and safety improved corners that you see in the north part. We think that the south part is also calling for the same thing, so it's good to hear for you, for that. Particularly on 38th Street, you may want to see if, you and your neighbors want to start thinking about asking for a low traffic neighborhood where you might be getting, cut through traffic heading somewhere else, because you said there were traffic changes that now send the traffic on 38th
It used to be
Street.
signed years ago,
Yeah,
not too heavy traffic, only local delivery.
No through
But
traffic.
now,
When
they took
I
the
said
sign
that-
down and you'll see the truck. And the problem is with the old, pipes and the old, you know, I mean, water mains, it constantly breaks. Right? And we end up paying for it. Because the city goes, it's your responsibility from the main to the, you know, the front of your house. I did it twice already.
yeah. All right, well, I appreciate it. I don't want to belabor it too much because people are here. Do you think so? Yeah.
And we encourage the 108 precinct to attend.
Oh, yeah, you should go.
Maybe we should tell them.
I can
Yeah.
see,
The other, our other committee, the city services committees, city services and public safety. They're having the 108 precinct come at their next meeting. When's their next meeting? Next week? June 10th. So those are in person here too, right? Yeah, that's right. And they'll have the 108 here, and usually it's the captain, right?
Yeah, I hope I don't have to call 911.
No, come
No,
to the
because
meeting,
last
because the
time when I-
captain will be here.
Again, but when I went to the precinct to report the stolen of my catalytic converter, guess what the captain told me? Go home and call 911. So I looked to say, there's a pizzeria, this is the 108 precinct.
It is something that they had to.
But come on,
They did
It had
say.
a had a
is there
different way
procedure.
to spread, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I
Go
understand.
home and call 911 and say, but I'm here, I got the video. Go home and call 911, turn around, and, you know, goodbye.
I appreciate it. I appreciate your frustration, particularly for this committee on this point. We'll look at 38th Street. We'll talk to our DOT rep, see what's going on in the area, see why traffic might have increased there and what can be improved. We have asked for Greenpoint Avenue to also be improved for safety, including bike lanes, including ways that slow down traffic and also maybe let people know this is not the fastest way to get where you're going. So maybe you should use an expressway or something. Hopefully that happens. But I appreciate it. What was your name?
CESAR, Las Emas Romero, ROMERO.
Thank you. Hey.
Hey, I just want to speak a little bit to the comments made by Caesar and Francesca, and also some of the people online about the reckless driving, the enforcement at NYPD. Most of our district.
You are Teresa?
I'm Teresa,
Or
the
Julie
in
Wanda?
person.
Yeah.
So I was waiting for my husband to swap places with me so I can come in person for the first time. What I will say is that the majority of our district is community board 2 and the 108th precinct, but we do have a fairly sizable portion of our district that is also community board 1 with the 114th. And I will say that we have heard very similar complaints about the reckless driving, both here, down here, and also in South Astoria, Dutch Kills area. So this is something that's not exclusive just to 108 and CB2, but is also happening with CB1 and 114. So it's definitely, I can't speak for the entire city, but I'm hearing a lot of the same types of things at both meetings. And just from constituents that reach out.
Yeah, it's good to know. And from what I hear from the city is everyone wants everybody to slow down. Everyone wants safer streets. So that's why we work towards it with Vision Zero. Thank you so much. I do want to get to DOT's next presentation, but thank you so much for coming here. We have noted everything and we will continue the conversation with DOT. You can check in with us, send us an email, and we'll be happy to reply about progress. All right, and then this is Raphael. If you call the office or send an email to the office, you'll be speaking with Guido. All right, DOT, welcome back.
Okay, so for our second presentation, we're gonna be talking about a project that I've mentioned a lot of times at this committee over the past year, and we're now actually ready to show you the design for it. So this is some of the changes that we have planned for the Hunters Point South areas on multiple streets in the area. More specifically on Center Boulevard, 57th Avenue, 2nd Street, 54th Avenue. A lot of the problems we've been hearing from the board is that, and we're handing around a physical form of the presentation now. A lot of the problems that we heard from the board is that there is a lot of issues with parking in the area, kind of a mismatch between the signage and markings and, you know, people are a little confused what the regulations are in the area. And also what newer problems are involved with the bus redesign with bus turning clearances. We've also heard issues with truck turning clearances at a lot of these intersections. You know, very new area of the district in terms of, you know, the larger area. So we want to show you some of the changes we have to help, you know, right size this area, bring it into its current use, because its design is essentially outdated right now of the roadways.
Can we make the presentation full screen?
Yeah. Yeah, so I'll just keep going. So we've had both our traffic planning team, Cole, who's online right now, is gonna be giving the presentation from his end. He's helped with the redesign of the roadway there, and I'm also joined by Matt Garcia, who's from our parking team, who's gonna talk about some of the curb regulation changes that we have for the project. So whenever Cole's ready, we'll be able to take it away.
Okay, can you see the PowerPoint presentation on the screen?
We see it, but it's not in presentation mode.
Okay, let's do this.
There you go.
There we go.
Looks good, Cole.
Okay, so yes, good evening, everyone. My name is Cole Jelly from New York City DOT Traffic Engineering and Planning, and our unit together with the parking worked for a while on addressing some issues at the initially Center Boulevard, and then it was expanded to include Second Street, 57th Avenue, and 54th Avenue. Just a little bit about the background. How did we get here? Because these are relatively new streets. So Center Boulevard and Second Street and the Hunter Point South area has seen, and you probably, since you live in that area, know already, new and large-scale residential, commercial park development, which really changed the area. And when we say relatively new, it's in the last 7-8 years. The roads were built in 2018. Those that we're trying to improve. Now, Center Boulevard and Second Street are currently marked with 2 travel lanes. Not really sure why. With parking permitted on the inside lane or on the right side of the travel lane, and which is leading to some parking confusion. The outside or the left lane is consistently filled with illegal parked vehicles. There is no parking allowed. It's a travel lane, but there is vehicles, and you're going to see a slide later that really shows this. DOT has received multiple requests over past couple of years to address some of the issues on both Center Boulevard and Hunters Point South. And the requests came from local electeds, from residents and MTA and other city agencies. Most of these requests were more or less related to parking issues, to unregulated parking, which MTA had difficulty making turns because how vehicles were parked. Trucks had, and I will see a few pictures later, have difficulty navigating and making turns. There is illegal parking and double parking all across the area. Then there is visibility issues, and the lack of regulation and enforcement leads to long-term parking. There is really no limit how long people can stay there, which results in issues with parking turnover, double parking, street cleanings, and so on. So this is the reason why we even doing this project. This is the study area. This is the Second Street. It's a one-way southbound, then 57th Avenue, Center Boulevard, starting at 57, all the way to Borden Avenue and 54th Avenue. And the reason we included 54th Avenue because also parking is allowed only on the right side, and there is 2 travel lanes. Both of them have to make a right. There is no traffic really logic because on all of these streets that we're discussing right now, there is no traffic need for 2 lanes. This picture probably speaks more than anything that I said. You can see here, you would probably, if you didn't know what the parking regulations here are, you would conclude that there is parking allowed on both sides. Starting all the way from 54th Avenue, there is more parked vehicles on the left side than right. And if you pay attention to this corner right here, you can clearly see how difficult it is to make this right turn here. Both these two yellow trucks, the vehicle in between, and these two cars right here shouldn't be there. It's very hard to make that turn, particularly from trucks, even smaller trucks. And then over here, the same. You see those two vehicles there. In the next picture, you're going to see what they actually do. This is a picture of double parked vehicles. These are legally parked and then double parked vehicles. And then this is a picture of a truck trying to make that right turn at the corner that I just described. And with these two vehicles there illegally parked, all of those vehicles are illegally parked, but these two particularly, it's literally impossible to make that turn. And I believe that this vehicle right here was crashed. And in order to address all these issues, we came up with an idea of how to give more parking and solve some of these problems, or most of them. So this is a cross section that is valid for both Second Street and Center Boulevard. What we have right now there, we have bike lanes on the left side, then we have 5-foot concrete median. Then we have 2 travel lanes, 12-foot travel lanes. We have parking on the right side, and then a wide sidewalk of approximately, depends on the location, but mostly 15-foot wide sidewalk. We are not going to make any changes to this section here or to the other side. So the parking on the right side stays. The changes are going to be made only to this section, for this 24 feet wide roadway. We intend to make this left lane a parking lane, but since parking, and that would be a 9-foot parking lane, since we have excess width here, we would make here a painted buffer of 4 feet, and then have an 11-foot travel lane, and as I said, parking on the right. So essentially, we would have parking on both sides and 1 travel lane in between. Possibly, this could have been done even when the roadways were designed, but this is how it is. This is the plan as I described in the cross section, that we have the bike lane stays as is, the concrete median stays as is, and then we're going to have a parking lane. That's the new parking lane, a 4-foot buffer, 1 travel lane, and the parking lane on the right side. This is the existing parking lane. This applies for all the blocks on 2nd Street, on 57th Avenue, and on Center Boulevard, and on 54th Avenue. Here we would have had a problem if we had 2 through lanes here approaching 54th Avenue, but this actually worked really well because the left lane has to make a left here. So 1 through lane goes straight to the 1 receiving lane on the other side, and this is then continuous from this point all the way around to 57th to Center Boulevard. This is a plan that includes all the changes. This is, again, that's the section I just showed before, is this section right here. So we go from 1 lane and continuously all the way to 57th. And then I don't know if you can see here, but we really tried with our design unit to make sure that parking is not easy it's not easy to park vehicles here. And we hashed this area, but then we concluded that people are going to still park there. So what we're going to do there, we're going to install some delineators that physically prohibits people from parking there. And then we're going to do that at this corner and this corner over here. Hopefully, those that already violate parking rules, they're not going to do it. Sometimes they do, but now the next step is what regulations we are going to have here. The Matt is I believe with you, so he can take it from here and discuss what are we considering to do with these changes that really add a lot of parking. We think that about 90 new parking spaces are going to be available with this plan.
Right, so looking at, let's see, what slide is that? It's slide number, it's page number 11 for you guys, slide number 11, I guess, here for the parking reg. So the idea is, as Cole was saying, we're reintroducing parking around that outer edge, right? We're getting rid of that travel lane because the traffic doesn't need it. So that should add around 90 new legal spaces around that loop. The idea is that we want to add a mix of metered parking to some of the block faces on the west side. So we're looking at 2-hour metered parking, which corresponds with the other metered parking that's already existing on Center near Borden. And then we're looking at 12-hour metered parking, 7 to 7 on the west side of Center Boulevard along the park, that dark blue. The idea behind the 12-hour is that it allows both short and long-term stays. So you could park for 15 minutes, you could also park for 12 hours. And it hopefully provides some turnover. Number one, to get cars moving, to limit illegal parking, to limit double parking, and also importantly, it'll increase enforcement. So in theory, TEAs will come and enforce that metered parking. We find it's the most enforceable parking regulation here. But as part of this work also, I think we can all agree that this area is in desperate need of signage upgrades. So just understanding that what is no standing, what is legal parking, what is where, right? There's so much construction that's happened over the past few years that a lot of the signage is inconsistent. And as part of this, we can clean up a lot of that. Other locations that we're looking at, so we're investigating truck loading at the Evergreen Marketplace. It's a little awkward because we'd like it around the corner on Center here. If you guys know, Evergreen is right on this little map on this diagram. It's kind of where it says Gotham Point right there. There's a daycare on 56th. And so we're trying to get it away from that. So that was the idea of pulling it over there, but we're doing observations to understand how trucks are moving around the space. And then in addition, there's a new space for the Department of Parks and Rec near 54th Ave that they need to park their vehicles to get into the park itself. And I guess I can just go through this, Cole. So some of the benefits we're hoping to get out of this is legalized parking for vehicles currently parking in the travel lane. Again, we're providing roughly 90 new parking spaces. It provides a uniform one moving lane around that loop, more orderly and streamlined traffic flow, increases regulated and, cross your fingers, enforceable parking. We'll have better, safer truck turns with those no standing areas that Cole was outlining, and improve neighborhood bus movements as well. Let's see. And I think, yeah, so just as the next steps, we're hoping to refine the plan as a result of shared feedback. The council member's office has put us in touch with the school nearby. And we're hoping to get the project implemented in the summer or fall.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much for the presentation. Thanks for addressing an issue that is has been a big problem and brought to us many times. Maury, you had a question?
Yeah, one question is, will there be street cleaning rules there?
So we're not in charge of street, that's DSNY, right? Yeah, so DSNY has been looking at street cleaning north of this area. but we can't really speak to this area.
Yeah, I was wondering how that'll affect parking,
Right, right.
especially, there, yeah, anyway. The only other thing I wanted to mention, just a administrative note, for accessibility reasons, the maps, when they're color coded, they're not great for people with color issues. And sometimes it's even when you're on the screen, even if you're not, say, colorblind, or low light situations, or if they're looking on a digital, whatever. So it's always good to have, not rely on color alone to convey information, but have it in either patterns or numbered or letters or something, so that it's not just green or orange or whatever color.
Right, right.
Isabella.
Just had a question about PS 384. I'm pretty sure they don't have a playground, at least one that you can see from the outside, unless it's like somewhere in the interior, or maybe they have like a gym. Is there a way for them to get something like a playground out of this? Because I would think then you have to walk anywhere between like the equivalent of 3 and 4 blocks to get to the nearest playground that is specifically for kids. There is like Muscle Beach and like the workout area over there, and then there's the lovely places where you could sit and like look at.
It looks like they do have a schoolyard with the playground, just,
Do they? Okay.
yeah, I'm not sure if that's part of the floor right there.
Yeah, my kids go to 384. There is both an asphalt outdoor play area and a small area, and they also use the park around them for recreation on special.
I mean,
But
you
can
know,
we
but
get
also,
more?
I mean, we could also look into if
Yeah.
the school's interested in an open street program. That's always something. we
That's
can look
what I
into.
was thinking. That's
You know, I'm not, for this area specific, it's a little limited because it's just one loop around, but I mean, if the school's interested in looking at programming 56th Avenue, that's always something we can get in touch with them about.
cool.
So
Thank
I
you.
think there's potential.
Randy, you had a question?
Yeah, I have some questions. I probably have like 4 or 5, so bear with me. So thank you for this. I know, Joe, I've been asking you for a long time. My kids go to 384, so I'm on the street all the time. I'm probably a producer of a large amount of the 311 calls, so appreciate this. Couple things, 54th Street and 2nd. So 2nd or 54th, 54th going east of 2nd. If you could pull up, Cole, if you could pull up the map again, please. Going east of 2nd on 54th Avenue, that's technically a two-way street, and it's constantly, there's parking, vehicles are parked on both sides. So can you figure out, working with your 108 partners on enforcement? I think signage will help. I think nobody knows that it's no parking. And also, if there can be some physical barriers to that, that would be great. The other thing is that the new school building is at 54th and 2nd Street on that corner. So there will be a school full of buses, and also while like a majority of people in CB2 don't own cars, there are a large amount of drop-offs and pickups during the morning and the afternoon. So that will, I'd love to hear how you've taken that into account as designing the physical space. And then I really would caution against using the painted buffer paint. People ignore the paint. People have been ignoring the paint this whole time in this area. I think there's that bike lane, a couple streets on 51st or 50th that for that one block that everybody parks in. And so I would urge a more hearted and more like thinking through that, because we're just going to get in the same problem of double parked cars and things like that.
Well,
Thank you.
Are you talking about the channelization like along the whole street or just at the corners?
Yeah, it's at the corners, because the problem becomes is that we still have 53-foot trailers that come through this area. And while I try to 311 them and get enforcement, it never happens. And so that's a big problem right now, continuing to try to get around the neighborhood. So daylighting, if you could, like, I would love all the corners to be daylit. It's one of the reasons why we don't let my fourth grader walk to school by themselves or with impacts is car drivers. It's I've almost been hit multiple times walking to school by car drivers with the light and reducing illegally. So the bike lane I'm talking about that everybody parks in is on 50th Avenue between Center Boulevard and Second Street. It's a important part that on paper connects the different bike parts of the bike network, but in practice, it is a parking lane. It's a parking spot.
Yeah, I mean, I will say to your point about having hardening, I don't think it was very easy to see in the presentation, but at the corners of Center Boulevard and 57th and both the intersection of Second Street and 57th, there's going to be kind of hardened protection at those corners to prevent people from,
Yeah.
like in that example in the picture that we saw.
Yeah.
There will be actual physical barriers there at the corners preventing people from parking there. I think a good example is at Queens Plaza North, right off Northern Boulevard. There's kind of a bend in the road that the buses used to use, that they would
Yep.
get stuck at because of people parking there.
Yeah,
So
right
in the
now people
center-
get stuck here, they get stuck here, they get stuck here, and they get stuck here because like people start parking here and then people start parking here. And so
Yeah.
that's especially 53-foot trailers, which we all know are illegal in New York, except for certain reasons. It's hard. It's like that. Those are the choke points. And the buses, like once a week, the teachers have to walk down, walk the kids up because they got to let the kids off back here to get off the bus.
I got you. Yeah, we can definitely look into see where if any places wouldn't be hardened that need that turn clearance, we can look into that.
Yeah.
Because I know this
Yeah,
is a very important turnaround for the buses now, and it's a matter of catching up to the new design that's there.
Yeah, and right here is where the new school is. So again, and it's going to be operated both buildings under one school. So if you have not reached out to Principal Britton yet, I can help connect. But like it's going to be operated. So like it could potentially be an issue, especially like here on 54th Avenue. These are all the parking illegally. So
And that opens September 2027.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, and we've thankfully been put in contact with the school. I want to, thank Teresa for that and all of Councilmember One staff who over the years have been, keeping us updated on all the concerns in this area. And kind of brought us to the table on this. So no more to come with that.
Thank you, Randy. Yeah, thank you for the presentation. This seems to just legalize what's currently happening, which is fine. But like others have said, how does it eliminate double parking except leaning on enforcement? How does it free the roadway for movement of vehicles?
So the idea behind metered parking is that you're trying to get folks to take turns essentially, right? When we talk about turnover, we're talking about, a car only using as much time as they need and then moving away because they're slightly dissuaded by the payment, right? I think that we can probably all agree that a lot of this demand is because it's free, right? And so I think that there's a distinction between locations that have a lot of demand based on the things that are there, right? Like a destination where people are competing for space at, things there versus demand because that space is free. So I think that the idea here is that by eliminating the free factor, you're going to reduce some of that demand, right? And then in addition, by requiring payment, you're going to get a little more demand management, right? Kind of pushing people away. And so the idea is as more people move, you're opening up spaces. It won't be completely parked up. There will be spaces for folks that have to illegally or double park now just to drop somebody off or pick something up. They can squeeze in, hopefully, turning things over, essentially. Yeah, that's the idea.
And it was also a matter of actually taking a street that wasn't necessarily designed by us and bringing it to our actual standards. Because, I remember, I believe last year we had to complain to people coming here saying that I'm getting tickets here and I don't know why. So it's a matter of like correcting, it's the balancing the issues of one, the people that park there, but also the safety issues and trying to get turnover, but also giving people a place to park should they need it.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of metered parking and for exactly what you're saying, like a lot of people seek long-term parking and just leave their cars there when a lot of people want to actually use the spaces for commerce and visiting. Yeah, I guess there's just a big problem in our district with lack of enforcement. If somebody has happens to have been given a yellow vest by the governor that they can put on their car seat, because I can't get one, I've tried. They can park anywhere they want in the city. That's not DOT's problem, but that is our problem.
And it's probably love to help them, and especially with how much we talk to the police.
Oh, we try. But the double parking, buses and trucks moving through there. I appreciate that this is happening, and I'm never one that says we need more parking. I think having parking here will just increase the amount of people looking for parking spots. But there are people who drive and need a place to stop. So I guess the compromise is metered parking that is constantly flowing. The Donald Shoup thing of like always one open spot on the street because the price is just right to do that. Will the price be just right?
This will be, I think, $24 for 12 hours.
Okay.
So $2 an hour. So the idea is that's a little more expensive than the off street that you have here, right? So ideally you're pushing people off street, right? So this hopefully will function. The idea is that it's kind of like a middle ground, right? Where if you're going to the park, if you're stopping by the grocery store, if you're going to the dentist, if a teacher comes and can't find a place to park or something, in theory, this space would probably, or allows some possibility of finding a space so that you're not parking illegally. You don't have to sit in that corner, right, and block a truck movement. So
Is that for both the 12-hour and the other?
the other one was, I think it's 2 hour, it's $2 an hour.
That the 2-hour one is $2 an hour?
Yeah, it's all
$12 hour
it's all $2 an hour.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which makes sense.
Yeah, and so we're hoping that it, again, will get the turnover, increase the enforcement presence in the area. Like in other areas throughout the city, we find that areas that have just general enforcement, TEAs, when you see folks going around giving tickets, there's like an ambient sense of enforcement throughout an area. Like we see this a lot with like Bayside and even on Steinway, where other things are like the other, I guess, parking activity falls in line to a certain degree because there's just the presence of TEAs and enforcement in general, right? You don't see many people walking around getting tickets around here. I mean, it happens, but there's not a consistent presence. And ideally, the meter parking would also give a consistent presence in the area. So that's the idea.
Yeah, I appreciate it's a very tough challenge.
It's pretty tough.
Yeah, but I have noticed, like, if I go to Astoria to 30th Avenue or something, because there's metered parking, there's so many spots open, the times that I've gone there, and like, that's exactly how it should work. So that's how it should work. What are the times on?
7 to 7.
7 to 7. So somebody could park 12 hours, right up to 7, stay there all night, and then have to move at 7.
Right. So,
but at least it moves rather than streets where we see nothing ever move.
That's kind of the idea. Like, I don't think there's this area is changing very quickly, but there's not too many smaller duration attractions, right? A lot of the stuff is longer duration around it, especially going to the park, things like that. So we're hoping that, again, like it provides the ability to stay short term. You could stay for an hour or you could stay longer if you need to. But at least it's something turning over and more presence to try to keep things moving.
Street cleaning would help that.
Yeah.
That's definitely a long-term conversation we can have with DSNY.
But if street cleaning moves everything on a free parking street once a week, then having metered parking moves everybody every day.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's you should have both.
Yeah.
Because like if you look at 46th Street, on the alternate days, all those people that stayed overnight, they're moving because they have to, because they have to be away for an hour or 2 hours, whatever it is.
Yeah.
They're gonna find another spot somewhere else, and that moves it like you were saying.
Right. One issue that constantly comes up and came up in public comment was people driving onto the greenway for prom photos. This is a DOT thing. I don't know if it's a parks thing. How do we keep vehicles off the greenway? And bollards is a suggestion.
Hardening.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a conversation like we DOT directly should have more often with the precinct. Because I remember in past meetings that we've had, there was people saying that they reported, but there was very, inconsistent results, talking to the precinct. So I think that's something, I think we should talk to them about. We've already met with the precinct, in the past, not too recent, but in the past about some of the parking issues on Center Boulevard, the full length of it. There was concerns with, long-term vehicle storage, but also people bringing their cars up onto the green. So I think that's a very specific problem that we can bring to them, figure out what to do there. I think it's also helpful to know exactly where they're coming in, like which entry points. So
I
if
think
you-
just from the crosswalk into, if you look in the picture, there's a drive. Let's see, which. This satellite photo,
Yeah,
it looks like there's a crosswalk that goes on a drive across the bike lane.
yeah.
I think there and there, like, why does that have to be vehicle accessible right there?
Is
that
it
for the
that
park?
wide, the ramp there?
What's that?
Like the ramp is wide enough for a vehicle?
Yes, yeah, let me see if I can see. Yeah, I mean, we saw it on, in public comment,
Yeah, because if there's. I would just wanna get confirmation, because I wanna make sure it's not one of those like wide curb cuts, but like parks vehicles to get in and out of. Like if it's just a regular, pedestrian curb cut, then that's. I guess a little more complicated, because that's not something I know that we've done anywhere really in the city to have bollards like right at a pedestrian ramp.
yeah. Is that, in the chat, what's the, cross street there?
Jonathan, that's at 57th, right? Or 56.
No, it's a. Yeah, I guess so. Can we get that, photo on the screen? We're gonna give you, is that Jonathan?
Yes, that's me.
We'll give you a screen share privilege just to show us, since we're talking about this area.
Oh, sure, okay, sorry, I wasn't really
You
prepared
can,
for that. I mean, I dropped 2 pictures in the chat. I don't know if you can pull that up, or.
Yeah. Okay, I think we'll open it from our end then. What's
Yeah.
the cross street there?
So Center Boulevard and 57th Avenue, and also Center Boulevard and 56th Avenue.
Yeah, because I just wanted to make sure if it was the actual entrances that parks might use, because we've had discussions with them about, the authorized vehicle spaces that's gonna be included in this project. And I know they did mention the same issue and that they're gonna be looking into having bollards. So I think that's a conversation we want to continue having with parks. Because I mean, they've done it in other places, like along the Queensbridge Houses Greenway. I know that parks have done projects to try to keep vehicles out there, so I believe this is also a location they were looking at too. I just wanted to make sure we were talking about the same spot.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
just for
so-
reference, well, there already are bollards installed at 50th Avenue and Center Boulevard, so
Okay,
that is definitely it's a thing. It's just not installed from 51st down to 57th where it's really needed, specifically at 56 and 57.
yeah, so that's a conversation we'll follow up with Parks about, to try to see if that can be done.
Yeah.
Because I can see, I remember this was the same issue last year.
Yeah.
Around this
Yeah.
time with prom season, because you could see the Rolls Royce and the Maybach up there that people
Yep.
went to try to take their photos with the
Yeah.
camera.
It's, we don't have a lot of green space in this district, so.
And you don't
it's
need the land
dangerous.
note on it.
It's dangerous, it's inconvenient, it's infuriating to see cars go in a place where they're not supposed to go. They go everywhere. This is a pedestrian space. This is a bicyclist space. People shouldn't have to go around people's cars. Take your photos over.
Totally agree.
It's a park. So I appreciate, and we'll follow up with you as you speak to parks about that again.
Yep.
Thank you very much. Thank you. One question in the chat I saw, it's listed that Malt Drive is private, is that?
That is true, yeah, it's a private street, so we don't have control over any of the regulations on
Is it
that.
open to traffic?
I believe it is, yeah, it is open for access for vehicles, but I know at the beginning of the meeting, there was, a question about parking regulations, but unfortunately, we don't have jurisdiction over that,
Oh, interesting.
yeah.
But it's just not mapped in New York City.
I would have to check if it's mapped, but it's privately owned the street.
Gotcha.
So it's the same as if it was like a private drive, like, there's a lot of streets around the city that are like that people don't realize are actually private streets.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's how these streets were before they were handed over to DOT. They were privately built and then, as long as they were met our dimensions, then they were handed over.
Interesting. And then I did see somebody mention loading zones. You said there was one loading zone. Loading zones are always a good idea. Because there's so much delivery traffic now. There's, a lot of the double parking we see is going to be Amazon, FedEx, UPS. And because it's such a tight spot that gets held up, it'd be nice to keep them clear. So the more loading zones, the better. So I guess it's something that you'll continue to ask questions for the people in the area, and then it will be monitored as it goes in. If it doesn't work, it needs improvement. But I appreciate that you guys, that DOT is looking at the area and making things clear and legal, with signage and striping. Does anybody else have any other questions?
Just really quick, so you were saying potentially 56th Ave for an open street. Would the reason that we wouldn't consider 57, is that due to school buses?
I would have to talk to the open streets team about
With
that,
that,
like,
okay.
I think if, again, this is all based on if the school is interested in the program.
Right.
And then, they can have their suggested streets and bring it to us and we would give our feedback
Got it.
over, if we feel that it would work and if yes, what times, or if we have an alternate suggestion for a different street. Yeah, I think,
Cool, I just wanted to double check that.
yeah, I don't think that there would be any. Yeah, the buses don't come down to there, so there wouldn't be any issues with rerouting there.
Okay.
The MTA bus.
MTA buses.
The school buses.
The school buses.
Yeah, I think they have.
Yeah.
Dedicated loading here.
Here. Okay, got it, so then that would be like more. Okay.
Yeah, 384 loads on 57th, right out front. So that's where they process out, and even the after school programs, they load in and out of that door.
Yeah, and it could be limited times a day that don't interfere with the buses anyway, so.
All right, Randy, did you have any more?
I just had a question whether or not you would, working with the other units like the micro hub pilot unit or things like that. We continue to see, Riley said that there's a huge amount of packages that come in our neighborhood from Amazon and other things, whether or not you've been working with micro hubs or other pilots to identify areas that could concentrate some of this and regularize some of it so that it just helps not only the flow of packages, but some safety and some just organization of the public realm.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely something we can look into, especially if there's like a location that seems to naturally be, maybe that's happening problematically, or, yeah, we're happy to look into that. I know that the micro hub program right now is there's still very a pilot, so they're really evaluating what's working and what's not, especially in like the higher demand areas in Manhattan, for instance. But if you have locations that we can look at or suggestions, we're happy to dig into that.
Okay, if I see anything out and about in the neighborhood, I'll make sure I'll forward it to the office and they can get it to you.
Yeah.
All right, excellent. Thank you so much. Thanks for coming.
Wait,
are
I
you
just
Lorraine?
have one thing to say. So this section of Center Boulevard, as far as like constituents reaching out to us, receives like disproportionate amount of attention and action from our inbox. Then, rivaling like Queens Boulevard, Northern Boulevard, just the small section. So one of the things that recently that came up is that because of the confusion of the signs, the inconsistent parking enforcement, the feeling of unfairness that people are getting tickets, but it's not clear, indicated why. We've been working with you and NYPD on that. And then also like the school, but I do wonder, is there any sort of parking pass situation for parents doing drop off? Because I have a small child, you can't just open the door and let them let them go. It's a whole process. You gotta come around, you gotta unclip them. They can't get out of the car safely. But like there are sort of like this idea of like this like short interval of 15 minutes, like your kid is sick, you have to go pick them up, you're coming. And I don't know if there's any sort of like parking pass system for school specific to that might be able to help parents of 384 in the future. The future one on parcel C, just to specifically address, because school busing, as we know, is very hit or miss. And like, I don't want to have this inadvertently create issues for parents doing safe drop off, because it is really hard to get kids in and out of the car. It's like a whole thing.
We don't have a pass system
Yeah.
for parents with schools. I mean, the main regulation and I guess parking oriented thing that we do is the no standing school days.
Yeah.
I think if there are specific problems, with specific areas, sometimes we can, try to rework situations, and try to add other regulations to, facilitate that behavior in some way,
Yeah.
But we don't have a pass system.
Yeah, and just as speaking to Principal Bertrand, to just see, just like how people have pointed out real conditions of using it for parking, you guys determining that there should be legal parking, just having real conversations with the schools of what parents are actually doing.
Yeah.
Like, just to avoid any like dangerous double parking situations.
Yeah, and like, as a reminder, like any no standing zones you're allowed expeditious pickup and drop off.
Right.
But I also think like because they're adding in meter parking too, like there will be more available spaces
Yeah,
now
I think
to do that pickup and drop off.
expeditious meter, like the expeditious getting in and out when you're with like a 5-year-old, it's very, what I can do as a single person without my son in and out of a car 30 seconds versus like a whole entire 5-minute ordeal tantrum on the street. I don't
Yeah.
want to get in the car. Like, it's completely different.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's something we can also talk to our school safety group about, because especially even that,
Yeah, they've also had an issue with getting crossing guards at all schools. It's
yeah,
crossing guards.
that's definitely a
there's
general
a shortage,
problem.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, there's a huge shortage of crossing guards.
Yeah, that's a tough one, and I know that I will say that's handled by PD, but it is also something that we try to advocate for too, at the same time, but it's a really persistent problem. The lack of crosswalks all over the city, because most schools that we talk to say that, when we have one or two and then it's inconsistent.
All right. Thank you so much. It's a tough area. But thank you very much for the presentation. Definitely. Appreciate it. Joe, we'll keep you around for a couple questions.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Thank you very much. All right, when you're ready, if you want to give us any updates.
Sure, yeah. We'll go down. Thanks, man. Have a good day. I'm gonna move here because this is my more comfortable there. Looks like looks the updates that I have. Yeah, so I did want to just give a quick update on the green asphalt issue at Blissville. I did get confirmation from our roadway repair and maintenance unit. They handle the street repaving. They confirmed that they're not using the facility anymore. They weren't included in any of the recent bids. Because I know there was it was very unclear over the past few months like what was going on there.
Yeah.
I know there's issues with them rebuilding their smokestack that's being handled by DEC. But just wanted to confirm with the board that it's not being used anymore.
I appreciate that. We appreciate that it's not being used, and we appreciate the update.
Of course. Next, I wanted to give an update on was the that new bus sporting island that's being built at 39th Street, Queens Boulevard. From what I understand, like most recently, I saw that it's mostly complete. The construction, the bus shelter was relocated onto it. And we do plan on following up with Sunnyside Community Services about kind of the expected operation for it. The stop has not been moved yet. But we do plan on following up both with the board and the community center about that. To kind of talk through any concerns about like, potential operation of it.
Any other discussion about the halfway light, halfway down the block?
Mid-block crossings?
Yeah, that's definitely like a longer term conversation study we would have to do. The team that did the Queens Boulevard project is, aware of the concern, and they're definitely looking into it, so. Because it's a little less straightforward studying for a mid-block crossing, considering that when we study for any kind of signals or signage, like a stop sign or signal, it's based on existing traffic numbers and counts. And it's a lot harder to measure that if like a mid-block crossing, which is not an actual critical crossing there. So that's a little bit of a, more of a longer term study that we'll have to do for that. To see its feasibility. But. Next, I had was showing on the page. Yeah, the next was, I know the request of the right turn improvements on 43rd Ave. So I will say that, for Skillman Ave, which was just repaved, we're actually improving the right turns on there first. I know some of the markers have already gone in on Skillman. And so for those who don't know, we're changing the right turn design due to protected bike lane. So at the corners, in the current design, there was that mixing zone for the right turn base. That is going to be eliminated from Skillman Ave on selected intersections. To have vehicles make a more wider and slower turn. So they have more time to check for bikes in the bike lane. And also to prevent people from parking at the intersections and blocking the visibility there.
That's like second half, right?
Yeah,
What do you-
like,
okay.
on a lot of the Manhattan bike lane, they have the
little buffer.
like 90-degree
Yeah.
turns right off the bike lanes. So that's gonna be on Skillman. And we are also looking into, bike corrals on Skillman too, for some actual hardened daylighting. So like on the kind of eastern edge by like 49, 50th. I'll get the exact intersections and I'll send that over. But that's another.
What do you mean corrals, like where people can park?
Yeah, like the metal bike corrals, those will be in the painted like pedestrian areas.
Circle ones?
The hoops, yeah.
Oh,
like,
just
if you've ever seen,
Like both ones, not like
Yeah.
just the whole ones.
You
mean
to be in that area that's now blank, but it's
yeah,
oval?
yeah, like those rectangular areas that are at the corners, those long rectangular areas,
Yeah.
like if you've seen on Skillman. So I'm trying to think of a good example of where they are.
Because there are now like vans pulling there now.
Yeah, so we want to prevent that by actually installing, like those metal bike hoops.
Right.
We call it sleds.
For people's own private bikes.
Yeah, just for private bikes.
One thing I wanted to ask you. Do you know the width of when you make that wide turn to go into the side street? Is that with the length of a car?
That width is about, like you're saying, from the traveling to the curb? Like the
When we're
width,
traveling, now if I have to turn around that, instead of going into the little diagonal that I used to go into, make a right hand
Yeah.
turn, now I have to go around. So as I'm around here, now I have to look right to see if there's bikes coming. Is my car fitting in that area?
I guess it depends on how long your car is, because
Because my
it's
feeling
about,
is it's not, and it's blocking the travel.
yeah, so that's, usually the width of the parking lane, which is about
Yeah.
8 feet, I would say. And then the buffer space of the bike lane too, it's about around 8 to 10 feet you would have between the travel lane and the bike lane. I mean, if it's a small enough car, I do feel that like, because it's on an angle, you're pulling
Right.
off the travel lane and still have some space to stop and look for the cars, but. If you have to stop a little sooner than that, then,
That's what I'm thinking, is
Yeah.
that the people behind me are not ready for that,
yeah. I mean, it's an existing design that we have in a lot of other areas, like especially in like the bike lanes in Manhattan. And we feel that it works a lot better, for both vehicle traffic flow and just the main goal is safety for that. So, it encourages safer speech for both vehicles and bikes to watch out for that.
And it already exists at some intersections.
Yeah.
On Skillman Avenue,
Yes, and that's,
Like- 51st Street,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, you know.
Yeah, and I say all that because that's something that we would want to bring to 43rd Ave, because that was on the agenda here. I know right now there's some conflicts with, the Con Ed work that's been happening there.
Mhm.
So if we were to want to do any kind of rezon, it's essentially dependent on having that work wrap up.
Is 43rd Avenue gonna get repaved this year?
I would have to check on the schedule, and I
I
don't
think the
believe,
main roadway is fine, but the bike lane has always been really bad shape,
that's good to know.
yeah.
Um,
Especially around here, around 15th Street.
Yeah, I'll have to do a check on the permits. To see like if the Con Ed work is still expected to go for a little while. Cause I know there was concerns, especially from the bid and the council members office about the condition of the roadway that we helped get corrected. By going back inspecting the Con Ed, no, it's not in good shape. So they were able to redo some sections of that. Looking through and the others. I know that we've been talking down by Borden Avenue. I know we already presented that project recently, and we're still just doing a little more. Additional area businesses there, just to get our feedback there, and then we'll be moving towards, a finalized design there. So, as that progresses, we'll keep the board notified on that. 'Cause I know there was the concern with, Borden 11th and Borden Reverden, so, we hope to see those, just, I would say later this year.
Okay.
Yeah. And that was all the updates I had for what's on the agenda, so, I know that you all had a few other additional questions on top of that, so.
Sure, yeah, just while it's on my mind, what's going on Northern Boulevard in front of the high school? Where there's going to be no left turns, with a concrete median?
Yeah, that was,
Is that waiting on the 51st Street project?
no, the 51st Street project is, actually moving to a solar soon. That's completely independent from the Northern Boulevard work. I know that I do need to follow up with the project team for that, school safety project. Because a lot of times it can get delayed with, with funding, with utility conflict work that can happen. So I'll get confirmation and I'll be able to share with the board because, that's something I also need to find out myself.
Was anything ever decided about a traffic light on 49th Street or 43rd Avenue?
49th Street, was that on the?
I brought that up a long time ago.
Yeah, I would have to check, in the system if that was already approved, I don't know if that was approved, but I'll double check. I don't believe it was. From what I last checked out, but it was a while ago, so I'll get confirmation.
What?
I'll get confirmation.
Okay.
Bless you.
Bless you.
I have an allergy to dust. There's some dust in here. It's not.
Very yeah.
Some dust is just not
Hey, you
being.
working, like.
Need a steam cleaner. There is dust.
right?
Yeah.
Okay, bye.
I'll go ahead with a couple of questions from myself and others. Dr. Roz is not here tonight, but she wanted us to mention that the building, the Phipps building at the Barnett Avenue building, which is called the Barnett, maybe? Is, I don't know, that's what she said, is getting close to, being finished.
Okay.
And she wants to know if there will be improvements to Barnett Avenue now that it will be a major street between two major, housing complexes, apartment buildings. It has always existed as kind of a side street with a very, very narrow sidewalk, and on the other side, no sidewalk at all.
Yeah.
But now it's going to be serving a lot of people, a lot of pedestrians, because
Potentially a daycare.
and potentially a daycare as well as businesses, and I'm sure it's gonna see other stuff. So there needs to be a street plan for what's gonna happen on that street.
Sure, yeah, I know that, a portion of it's kind of closed off still, with the.
Yeah, it's still being finished up.
But yeah, I think once the street's clear, but then we can definitely look towards any type of improvements. The good thing about when there is like new development or an increase in development, that actually helps us specifically with intersection controls. you know, if you have a request for a stop sign or a traffic light, a lot of times people will make a request, there's just not enough traffic to meet the warrants for it. But, and we have a gap where we study again, because things don't tend to change that drastically in a short amount of time. But because there's gonna be that much more activity, we can actually study for, intersection controls now. I believe at 50th and Barnett, I don't think there's full stop controls there.
No, not
Um,
another raceway.
Yeah,
It's two-way raceway with no striping and narrowness from the, narrowness is good, but like, it is a raceway and then bad for bikes. But she was also asking specifically about crosswalks on 50th and 52nd Street across Barnett.
okay, yeah, I think that will definitely help us, I think once the new development's in place, that'll definitely help us, hopefully meet those counts, to get any kind of, intersection controls there. And also in the meantime, we could look at other, improvements, along the actual block face, whether that's any kind of modification, curb regs or the marking, to kind of right size everything.
I mean, what's bad about that is that the whole length of that new building will probably have new sidewalks. But west of that building is still a parking lot. It's still a big,
Like a scrap
well,
house?
no, it's a warehouse for, housewares or something. It's a business.
Yeah.
And they don't have even going east. There's all different kinds of businesses there, so I don't know, can they be forced to put in a new sidewalk? I don't know.
Yeah, from DOT's end, we would, if someone doesn't have a sidewalk, we would just issue them a sidewalk violation. Because, any property is required to have them. Yeah, it's a little bit difficult if they are refusing now.
Yeah. All right.
You just build it and then build them?
We do that for 1 to 3 family homes, for any like existing properties with the sidewalk violation. If it's a 1 to 3 family home, then we would, match that into our prior notice sidewalk, program it's called. And then eventually we go through different community boards each year, build out those sidewalks and then build a property owner. But those are the only ones that are eligible for that.
Cool. All right. We'll try to move quickly. I do have a couple more questions. Just for the minutes to make it easy on our man, just say your name if you're speaking. So this is Riley, continuing from the Sunnyside Shines bid, a couple of questions. Curly's Bagels is requesting a loading zone. I mean, they'd have to request it themselves, but the bid is telling us that they're getting ticketed every time they get a delivery. So that is at 47th Avenue and 43rd Street. The bid has also previously spoken to you about a streetlight on Greenpoint Avenue where the base is existing, but the streetlight is gone. That's near the Romantic Depot, if you know where that is.
Yes.
Everybody knows.
That is on our radar. We do have an open work order for that one, I will say.
The plot. Yeah. A lot of things.
Place.
The same triangle. In the public comments, you heard the intersection of Jackson Avenue and 21st.
Yes. Yeah, I
It
know.
needs a look at for pedestrian safety.
Yeah, I know, and I know that was an area that previously had some improvements too, but behavior's changed, so we can always come back and make more.
Yeah, and I think previously when we were speaking about the Core Square pedestrianization project, I had said maybe Jackson Avenue needs a bike lane because certainly whenever I ride on it, it seems like it needs a bike lane. It's a really, really tough stretch for a cyclist. It's tough for pedestrians. So if we do our homework over the summer, maybe we can see if that's feasible as an ask. I recently attended a memorial for Nisha Janat, the young woman who was killed at Roosevelt and 62nd Street. Her family, as well as members of the community, had come out to ask for a safer intersection there. Safer streets overall, but a safer intersection. That crossing at 62nd Street, coming off Roosevelt Avenue, there's no traffic signal, no safety there. So when a garbage truck made that turn, it just went right into her and killed her on site. So we're gonna make that ask for the community, or I'm gonna make that ask study the area and see exactly, because I do notice that there is a good amount of visibility there. I don't think there's any parking on the corners, but because I think, I've mentioned before that Roosevelt Avenue is a chaotic place, that needs organization, that probably contributed to, why the truck driver was swinging off of Roosevelt onto 62nd.
Yeah, I know there's a bunch of existing cases that we have after that crash occurred, so I can follow up and see where most of those are at.
Mentioned about the Queensboro Bridge pedestrian side needs signage. Like I said, I haven't really been on that side in a while, so I don't know what, I know that the bike side got really good signage saying bikes only. Even though we see pedestrians, but you know, not as many as before. The pedestrian side deserves a look-see.
Yeah, I know that there is some existing existing signage for the pedestrian side, at least on the Queen side that I know of. At the new landing that we made, that new concrete area is created, there is a no bike signage too, and there are about 2 or 3 signs at the very entrance where the pedestrians go in past the gate. That, you know, with the pedestrian symbol saying pedestrian this way. I can always follow up with the team. I mean, I'm gonna be meeting with them this week, the team that did that project. See if, you know, they feel that any additional signage is needed. But from what I know, we do have some signage there, but we can always look into more.
I see in the chat behind you that it says the signage is not specific, so you guys can have a look at
I
it.
think she had also mentioned that there should be signage not only at the entrance, but along the way. I don't know what that would do, but.
I think like what I've thought about on the pedestrian side, if pedestrian sees halfway through their journey that they're not supposed to be there, maybe next time they'll do it. I think it's also a matter of people just don't follow the rules, and if it's more convenient to them, they'll do it. It's hard because you can't really block bikes without blocking everyone else. I think it's so good. See some pictures. I'd have to have a look at it. And then just on the subject of Queensboro Bridge, we all know that there was a terrible crash on the bridge itself between a motorized scooter rider, the scooter was motorized, and a cyclist, where it was so extreme that both riders died on the bridge.
Whoa.
Fast they were going?
I mean, that's, if there's been an investigation, but the scooter is able to go 54 miles per hour. And if you've ever ridden on the bridge, if you've ever ridden anywhere, you know that those scooters are constantly, I've guessed that they've gone 35 miles per hour past me.
It's illegal, right? You're only supposed to be 20, right?
It's illegal, yeah. I think electric vehicles are only supposed to go 15 right now, yeah.
Yeah, again, me, the people in my office, all agencies, we're all, you know, straight up horrified that happened. You know, electric vehicles, e-bikes limited to 15 miles per hour, part of the legislation from, I believe, last year or the year before. And I believe the scooter was going towards Manhattan and the bike was going towards Queens, you know, on that downhill there. But yeah, NYPD is still actively investigating the crash, and we're also gonna be meeting with them this week.
There's also 15 miles, or a little more.
No, any scooters would have to be limited to 15.
So the problem is they have to go that way. My legal e-bike can only go 20 miles per hour because that was the law at the time. But other companies will sell these scooters that are capable of doing these extreme speeds, in spite of being illegal in New York City.
Yeah, the big eco scooters with like the suspension, the one that can go like almost, almost highway speed, so.
Yeah.
I have just a question because I'm curious about it. I'm sorry. On 39th Avenue, the bike lane goes east, unless it's a shared lane. So I'm on 39th Avenue and I'm making a left on 46th Street. So I'm now looking at the bike lane to see if anybody's coming up. And as I'm turning, is a bike coming the wrong direction, like this. So if there's an accident, I mean, I in the car should have stopped. When I wanted to scream at this guy, you're going the wrong way. And he could have only gotten into that bike lane on 47th Street and went one block and almost hit me. I think that every bike should have a little ding ding, you know.
It is the law.
Uh,
They're all supposed to have lights and bells.
Are they supposed to?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I've never heard one.
Yeah, I think this is the same issue as what happened on the Queensboro Bridge. There are people who have legal vehicles that drive legally, but then there are people for whom it's all the Wild West and they can do whatever they want and they can ride as fast as they want. And unfortunately, they make it bad for cyclists, they make it bad for pedestrians, they make it bad for drivers. It's, I think it's the approach of taking an education approach and enforcement and design is the best that the city can do. You don't want people to come down too hard on everybody because then certain populations get hit a lot harder than others.
Well,
You know,
but if
which
you-
they shouldn't.
If you follow the rules and you don't. get
That's
hit.
exactly, that's why we say, like, if, you know, if you're following the law, you've got nothing to hide
But
and,
that's
you know,
interesting. They're supposed to have lights and bells.
yeah.
Okay.
You know, problem is, bike bell is a little ding ding and drivers do
Well,
not hear it.
how a horn.
So it's, you know, it takes a village or a city, everybody to look out for each other, drive each other, and always expect that there's gonna be somebody there where you don't expect them. So that's it. I'm not making apologies for this person, but I think we've been here month after month and like, how do we regulate people who are acting illegally? You know, it's a mix of enforcement, design and education and just asking people to be civil. So I'm very sorry that it's a bridge, it's a straightaway, it's a raceway, you know, it really, it's hard to prevent that sort of thing if people are speeding. And I honestly don't know how you can confiscate an illegal scooter if it's not driving fast, you know, like I think even the website changed their text to say the legal speed is 15 miles per hour, so make sure you're riding that speed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
From what I understand, any stand-up scooter has to be below 100 pounds, I believe.
Oh, really?
Is what the regulation is. So anything larger than that would be considered like an e-moto or a motorcycle, which are not legal. But then again, that's the issue. Some of these scooters are just tuned to go that fast. So it is a matter of working with, you know, both City Hall and PD about, you know, getting the right legislation, the right enforcement on it. Because it is a really difficult problem for any agency to deal with. So, you know, hopefully we'll have a little bit more discussion with that, you know, at a city level this week.
Yeah. No, thank you. I think that's it for my notes. Does anybody have questions? Maury?
This is Maury speaking.
Hello, Maury.
Hi, Joe. Couple of things. This one I'll just. This is over on, it's 4810 45th Street. Rain garden that, had was boxed up. I think that might have been even last year. I'm not even sure.
Oh, really?
It's
I never seen
It's
that.
been a really long time. I think it's done. I think that wood needs to go.
So this was newly constructed there, right?
The rain garden's been there for a little while.
Oh, so this was for,
That, I don't know, maybe because they were doing, road work, or they were doing a lot of work back there a while back ago.
yeah.
I think somebody just never took the board back.
Okay, yeah. So we could, yeah, I could take that back. And we, if it was tied to any permit work, so we have what's called our HIPAA unit, highway inspection quality assurance. They go out and make sure any kind of construction work's following the permits, just, even after the fact, if someone leaves behind debris, I can send out some inspectors and they could, run that back to wherever had those barricades there and have them remove them.
Okay.
Yeah, so we can, I can get that, hopefully get an answer on that this week.
All right, awesome. But then there's a couple other things, I wanted to follow up on the 46th Street and Greenpoint Avenue sidewalk that has been going on for like 3 years.
Yeah, I know, we talked about this before and,
And I was disappointed because they were doing all the corners. They did every corner except that corner when they did the work for the new curb cuts and everything.
Yeah, a lot of times with, it's a little weird sometimes the way the work is batched together with those corners. Sometimes they'll hit all the intersections, sometimes they'll only be able to get to some.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
did all three and just not that one. One of the contractors that was there one day said they thought it was because there was a lot of electrical underneath on that corner.
Sometimes that could be the case, so like sometimes we have like our standard builds and then sometimes we have complex builds. So a lot of times if there's infrastructure that like would take a lot of work to move like a whole signal or, any kind of.
Maybe the
Yeah.
gas lines or something, I don't know.
Yeah, hopefully they don't go. deep.
I wouldn't think they would go that deep, but it's, I know the bid has complained to, and I know they said that that landlord is just a bad actor.
Yeah, and I know
Or
that
property owner.
the property does have an existing sidewalk violation.
No, they don't.
So,
There's a
they'd
few,
be,
I think.
yeah, they'd be required to repair that. I know there were some talks about, potentially the property being handed over, to different, owners.
I think it's the same owner, isn't it? That's been there for a bunch of years. There's this talk that they might tear it down, but now I saw, leasing agents there and they said, no, there's no plan to tear it down in the near term, or maybe a few years down the road. But they're now leasing the other end of the block, which they had cleared it all out, and that's
Yeah.
why a lot of folks thought they were gonna tear it down. But the one right in front of I still call it the old Rite Aid, but the Rite Aid's been gone for probably 4 years now.
Yeah.
Or more, and Genevieve, right?
Oh my God, that's. Jeez.
But is that a situation where the sidewalk could be fixed and then they could be built because they had a violation?
If, well, in what situation?
This one, the 46th Street, where the curb is all broken. I'm not the
Yeah.
curb, the sidewalk.
Yeah, like unfortunately, that's a commercial property.
You
So
can't do it commercial.
that wouldn't fall under that program. I mean, the way I would see if there is like a handover of ownership and like, let's say they do tear it down and reconstruct it, then they would be required to rebuild both the sidewalk and half plus 5 of the street.
I
So
don't
that,
think anything's happening in the near term though.
yeah,
I mean, it's such a thoroughfare, because all the people come from the subway, from the bus, from 46th
school.
Street, from the school, and there's a lot of people with mobility issues that walk
Does it
past
just
there.
need a grinding down?
It's just all broken and cracked up, and I think the
I think
trees.
the pictures I see.
oh,
It's
because I think it was one sidewalk split next to the tree that was a trees.
Yeah.
But you're saying it's
Parks
I haven't
came out and
seen that
said that's
photo.
not their responsibility.
Well, again, Parks has the same program where they will fix tree damaged sidewalks if they're extreme, but it is still only 1 3-family homes
That's
for them too, so.
Yeah, okay.
So why can't it
So what can we
be,
do?
why can't it be, a disability issue?
It is. It's a total mobility. Well, go walk by, fall down, jump over it, and then, I mean, I'm sure people
I
have.
don't advise that,
I'm
but
sure people have. It is, but for the city, it's a lawsuit waiting to happen, because there's so many elderly people, so many disabled people, so many,
It's been recorded already.
it has been.
Like a pothole.
Many times. And then the last two things, what's the update on the, big capital plan near IS-25?
yeah, so we should see more movement on that next year with EDC, for the Safe Routes to School program.
All right, can we still get some signs though that say school zone, slow down, all that?
Yeah, I think,
They never put them up. They took them down at some point years ago.
they took them down.
There were some a long time ago.
Yeah,
At least that's what the crossing guard told me.
I'll double check if there is supposed to be existing signage there. And which block is supposed to be on, because I know,
Isn't
I
it
know-
changed to 15 miles an hour now?
yeah, that's like the initiative that DOT is doing to have every school zone be 15, like every school have that treatment.
Because I very rarely see a sign that says 15 around.
Put some homes on 46th Street as you approach it.
I'll double check if there's any missing signage, because I know we had those no standing signs replaced, so I wouldn't be surprised if there was other, school zone signage that was missing.
All right, and then the final thing was the K Bridge pedestrian pathway.
Yeah, like
And the bike lane, like
yeah,
how's the lighting and the entrance and the safety.
yeah, so I know we got, some of the lighting temporarily fixed there, that's gonna be upgraded to LEDs eventually. And also we are, like on my side, I'm also gonna be looking into if we can get some potentially some barriers there.
Oh, good.
Yeah. It's gonna take a little bit of traffic planning, to see if we can work with the 2 lanes that are there and make it one.
Yeah,
possibly.
oh, that would be great.
Yeah, so it's,
That would be great. There's
a
no
little
reason
bit-
for 2, right?
the only reason there is 2 is because there's 2 turning lanes on the
Oh,
service
yeah,
road.
yeah.
So again, I wanna,
One like turning lane.
yeah, that's something I wanna look into. Yeah.
I used the right turning lane the other day for the first time in more than 10 years. I never use it. Nobody, I don't, barely anyone.
Not
uses
not a
it.
lot of traffic.
Anecdotally, get rid of it.
Thank
Really solved the problem. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have one suggestion for Julian office. The cycle thing that they can arrangement, they distribute a lot of stuff like a helmet, food. Instead, they can give the bell next item. They can supplement with the free distribution of bell. If Julian not can alone, but our council, our senator, our assemblyman, our congressman, all together ally, they make a the combination, they will make this problem, our distribution suffering with the bell. They can organize the distribution of the bell. This is our suggestion.
In the summer, you have your windows up with air conditioning if you're
Why,
in a
yeah, I
car.
mean, it's,
You
yeah,
know,
it's-
so you're not gonna hear a little.
but we don't want everybody to have an air horn.
Yes,
You can't even hear the sirens.
Were you suggesting that the offices will give out bells?
Yeah.
Yeah, like the helmets and stuff?
Oh,
No,
that's a good idea.
Just a reminder on the helmet, the giveaway is on the 13th at Hunters Point South in the Oval. Cause that's gonna be June 13th. It'll be just by the time we get to next meeting.
Yeah.
What's the parking like down
Uh,
there? June 13th, Hunters Point South, free helmet giveaway from Julie Wan's office
with DOT.
with DOT.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
nice.
And we have a rain location too, just in case.
Rain location.
To be disclosed, if it rains. But
Rain.
kind of nearby.
Awesome, thank you. Anyone else? Isabella?
I'd like
Sorry.
to talk about maybe doing, is that okay? Oh, some daylighting on 45th Road and 23rd Street. So if you go up that one way, where the deli is, there's a hydrant. And there's many, both city and also construction vehicles from the lot that is being built across the street that will park where the hydrant is. So if you, whether you're driving or you're biking, like I've done both, you have to go into the crosswalk and beyond it when you're making a left turn to see if there's oncoming traffic.
Okay.
So,
So you're talking like pardon daylighting, or, cause there's a hydrant there?
yeah, but also maybe some visibility because of the 7 train. It's being above 23rd, it's really dark
Yeah.
as well. So if there could be some more lighting, I think that would be helpful too.
Yeah, I think if anything, we can get a new lighting request in for that then.
Okay.
Cause it, having, any kind of visibility increased by the hydrant is a little bit difficult, cause we wouldn't wanna physically block it.
Right,
front,
even
so-
though
Yeah,
it's like
Even though
there's
it's
a parking
blocked.
spot, yeah.
yeah.
So if there, I don't know if there's any way to protect the hydrant's integrity and therefore create that visibility for the left turn, so cars don't have to come up to the crosswalk and.
Yeah, I just wanna go there and sit and just orienting myself, but yeah, I know it's under the 7 over there. But yeah, I think if anything, we could, always look into more increased lighting, because it's a very straightforward ask that we can do.
Okay.
Just have to do the engineering study for that.
And then I had one more query around also Jackson Avenue and 23rd.
Yeah,
When you're coming out of the 7 train by the triangle and you're crossing the Court Square Diner, there is about, I would say like a 16-second light delay for the cars that are going towards the Queensboro Bridge down Jackson when they're allowed to make that left and there's no pedestrian crossing. But I repeatedly, while I wait at that, see so many people walk into the 23rd thinking like, wait, why hasn't the light turned for us? Because they can't see that left turn that the cars are doing going towards the Queensboro Bridge. This is a Court Square Diner. It's a Court Square Diner.
this is as far as turning left from 23rd.
From Jackson onto 23rd.
Okay.
So I don't know if there could be signage or just something, cause I see every time I wait at that, unless you're like a local and you know that like the red hand is going
Yeah.
to be longer. For you.
Yeah, everybody walks right in.
People go right in, and
there.
I've seen so many near misses
Yeah.
because they're just not aware.
Do the cars have a turning signal?
They do, yeah.
Don't they have a, let's say pedestrians wait car turning signal or something?
Well, I mean, if the
That can
cars
help.
have the full face to turn green, then it's dependent on the people on the sidewalk waiting for them.
Yeah, but the people don't know that the cars have a turning signal.
Yeah, I know some intersections will have those, the signs that will say like wait for green light.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
Or like turning vehicles have longer green or something like that, so you say that sometimes, but that's usually cars to cars.
Yeah, I know.
Maybe a button, like I know a lot of Court Square now, they have like the buttons for requests and accessibility and the sounds. I feel like we need one of those.
Yeah,
maybe
every-
there.
Every light's gonna be upgraded with that eventually.
Okay,
For ADA accessibility. So eventually all the lights will have that button, but you know, in the short term, I would definitely ask the board office to just send us a quick email. Asking for like that kind of signage, like wait for green light signage. So now that's in some places we have that.
okay. Thank you.
Randy?
Yeah, Joe, I thank you for the quick action on putting the delimiter back at the bike lane at the entrance at the Pulaski Bridge. I don't know if I was walking over the Pulaski Bridge and like walking towards Queens and coming up, going towards Brooklyn at very, very high speed was a New Jersey driver who was driving in the bike lane. And luckily no one got hurt. But this is Riley, I don't know if we want to go to it now, but at like this intersection, the geometry is all wonky and I wrote a draft letter for us asking DOT to like re-look at this intersection. On the best of days, it's really easy to go into this area with or without the flex post. I looked at it the other day, somebody already like bumped into it. So, Riley, I don't know if it's now is a good time to look at that letter or if we want to do it a little bit later. But I want to thank you, Joe, for the quick
Explain your
response
case
to
and
that.
Explain your case and ask Joe, what can actually be done to prevent vehicles from entering that bike lane, and then we can go through the letter.
Okay, great. Yeah, I mean, I think there's a couple things. I think one, it's a really confusing right-hand turn because I'll bring this up. You've got what 11th Street here, and you can come into it. You've got the bike lane here, and then you've got the sort of the slip lane into the Pulaski Bridge. And, you know, on the best of days, people go slow and they sort of come to the right. It would be really great to figure out how to lengthen this hardening out so that it makes it harder for vehicles to go in. I'm not a traffic engineer, but like I'd love to like relook at some of this geometry because it still is very confusing for drivers. I sometimes I drive and because I know the area, I have to take it really slow. The other question thinking about is there something more hardened than a flex post that we all know won't stop a thing? Because once you're on that bike lane, it's hardened all the way to Greenpoint. So that's like tactically, that'd be great to like rethink this, and then strategically at a like a higher level, giving DOT and whomever more resources to do faster quick builds so that when you see things like this, you can act quicker. But I think that's probably a council plus DOT plus funding and civic sort of thing that might be above and beyond our remit today. And so I drafted this letter. I sent it to Raphael. It's really long, it's verbose, and it's also 8:39. So I'm cognizant of our time.
Sure, yeah, we'll read the letter after, but you're saying the main problem is, one, that the bike lane is accessible to vehicles, so if somebody makes a mistake or deciding to skip the traffic can drive on the bike lane. And what was the
Yep.
other issue about the slip lanes and everything? Is that a driver issue or a pedestrian issue?
I think it's just that if you see here, it's just very confusing that one, the bike lane it's wide enough, which is great because there's a lot of bikers that use this area. And so it's really easy to get in. So protecting that, but then the geometry of all these ways to get into there, it makes it very confusing. And you've got cars coming across this way as well. So rethinking, is there a geometry rethink that we can do around here?
Sure, but particularly for those purple arrows you're drawing, who's confused?
So I've seen bikers and I've seen vehicles, be confused, and we don't want car vehicles on this part of the bike lane. So hardening that.
Okay, I understand. I see it now. Thank you very much. Yeah, we'll read your letter after Joe's done.
Yeah.
I would say really quickly, about that topic. Last week we had our, one of our Queens Waterfront Greenway workshops. And in the presentation, we did mention how there are specific parts of the Greenway that we want to see, long-term capital improvements at. And one of the locations called out is this intersection of where the Plasky lands at 11th Street, in Jackson Ave. Because that was something we as DOT heard a lot of concerns about. Like, number one, with cyclists coming off the bridge, it's, not very direct and conducive to cyclists trying to get across Jackson and up 11th. So that's one of the areas we're gonna be looking long-term for some major improvements there. So which should help, that concern with, vehicles, permeating that space. But again, if the board wants to send a letter, it'd be super helpful, for that, which would be good, definitely for that effort.
Cool, yeah, that's good, thank you.
Thank you.
Alright. What else? Anybody else?
I have a question, but I'm waiting for the last, at the end.
All right, thank you. I appreciate you. Great, all good with Joe? I guess the only thing I'll say is this is our last one before the summer break. If you guys don't know, we don't have any meetings July and August. We'll be back in September. Yeah. And this tends to be when DOT does a lot of work, building things and stuff.
It'll be very busy over the summer.
Yeah. So we will do our summer homework and look at our district and see what needs to maybe be done very quickly before the construction period is over in I guess late December or so. Maybe things can slip in the fall. But also DOT, it seems like the current administration really wants to make safer streets. So please, we have a full agenda of items that we've been asking for a long time. So please, I hope that you guys are all looking at that and looking at the whole district. You hear from people constantly that we want the vehicles to slow down. We want fewer vehicles, fewer automobiles. We want better organization on the street so it feels like we're not being hit by e-bikes or cars and pedestrians can cross the street safely. So I appreciate the work that you guys do and we always look forward to new projects.
I appreciate all the work that you all do.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you. Doug, did you have a quick question this late in the meeting?
Yeah, I don't want to take too much time. The thing is that in the winter months when I was here, I had raised an issue to you having to do with DOT scheduling that you said you were going to inquire about. Well, fast forward to the present, there are still a lot of questions that haven't been answered. And the fact of the matter is, work is beginning because jackhammers are now working on the top of the Queens Midtown Expressway, and I know what they're doing. And it's long overdue, and probably you can't blame the DOT. It's really an issue of previous administrations not answering this issue. About 20 years ago, they blasted and painted this stretch of the
I'm
highway.
gonna say, just for the sake of
Yeah,
everyone,
and
here.
Okay, what I'm saying is,
Yeah,
when is that then going to be?
so our
yeah.
answer from DOT, at least a couple of months ago, was that they're still sorting out between state and city.
Right.
Who's responsible for what and who owns what and who the land actually belongs to and is responsible for that land. So that's.
I'm not just talking about the land, I'm talking about the damage that was done to the highway. That was total neglect because they didn't keep the water out. They're now patching the top to keep the water out so that when they get ready to do the big work, they don't have water flowing down.
Yeah,
So.
I will say we don't hear a lot from state. We don't hear a lot from state, but we do have state representatives.
I tried to.
And it might be federal.
They don't wanna talk to me. They said, just look at our website. They
Yeah,
don't explain their plans.
I appreciate you keeping the issue with us.
Yeah. Okay, I'll be right back.
I mean, yeah, we can, I'll try to form a question, so I'd be happy.
And on the pulse of the body.
So you guys headed into like more meetings or?
We got a little more meeting, just for any motions that you might have, any discussion, that we might have. Oh, no, I have one motion and Randy has one motion. Does anybody else have any emotions? Emotions, one of you likes to have letters in support of their projects.
That supposedly starts in twenty.
Sorry.
Yeah. It's a city projects, the e-bike thing, and the level of, they the ones that are jackhammering the highway, that little state. Funny, if I parking people are not here.
Hey, Riley,
Gonna move this through.
Considered owned by the state.
He always negotiates the letter of support.
Okay, ready.
hey, Riley, I'm gonna have to put one of my kids to sleep, so I'm gonna have to sign off for at least 10 minutes. If you're back in here 10 minutes, I can make my motion, or if you agree with whatever you can write my motion and go
Sure.
right ahead.
If
Okay.
you wanna do it right
thanks.
now, you can, but if you wanna come back in 10.
Yeah, because we
I
might need,
will give,
we
let
might
me
need
put my
to
kid to sleep.
quorum.
Oh, right. I have to put my, I'm gonna put my child to sleep.
Hold on, what's that? What's that? Right, yes,
I need to put him to sleep, so I'll try to go.
Okay. Yeah. I didn't think this one was gonna go this long, but I guess those presentations, I didn't put everything on the agenda.
Well, technically, you don't need a motion to write a letter, especially as chair.
It's
I
true.
know you like to, but.
Yeah.
Really? But you don't need to, if it's just for the committee.
Well, Debbie. Okay.
You used to be the one who said that.
Yeah.
We're changing.
Studio is.
Okay,
Yeah, it's in Clark Square.
so now we have four.
Maybe in the south.
Yeah,
We can like roll call.
stickers.
Yeah, I thought maybe in the car.
Let me see.
Just for that or support, I think so.
Okay.
You know, your purview is that.
All right,
Gotta know.
Riley Owens making a motion to support the DOT's e-bike battery charging program as presented to us tonight.
So, yeah.
Any
I
second?
second that.
Okay.
That is.
Discussion.
No, I have to leave, no discussion.
If anybody wants to make any amendments or they support the program.
I'm just wondering, is it taking away from spending on other things?
I think it's very important.
It's like they said they gotta do it.
Is that relative, or like how?
I don't know how much it's been, I think some of it's been paid because, and probably the company that runs, yeah, I mean,
Is
it might be like a
like
city bike.
to invest.
I mentioned her on site a while back.
Yeah.
She wants.
I mean, it is a membership program, so there will be
She's not.
things paid by people. But it is also through the history of this committee, been an issue where people buy e-bikes, but then they find out that they can't actually store their e-bikes in their homes. Just can't charge their e-bikes, and then there have been several fires. They have the fires.
I worry that that's my one concern, but people will still keep them in their homes, especially because where they're concentrating now.
Yeah. But at least these are UL.
No, yeah, I think it's great that they're UL, but my concern is they're gonna go home and use the non-UL batteries and plug them into their apartments or whatever.
You're aware that I can make
Because
an appointment
they still,
for, I need her after the 30.
I do like it in theory, so.
Yeah, I think this is one approach to eliminate the problem. All right, call the question.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
I don't know.
It's okay.
I think it's for me, like, just more thinking about if we start to have this kind of extra additional stuff on like our sidewalks and our sidewalks getting more crowded and like wanting to protect pedestrians. I think that it's a really useful thing. Yeah.
Nay?
Mm,
Favor, it doesn't, it'll pass, but.
Yeah, it's gonna happen.
No, because we don't have enough people. Or, no, wait, how many?
Well, we have 4 members and a public member out of 9 members.
One, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, because he's not away again. We have 5. How many are total members?
9.
Oh, so with 5, we have enough, right?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. You know, we only have 4.
First come, first served. All right, I'm gonna read my, what'd you say?
Can I abstain?
Yay or no, or yeah.
I'm gonna say no.
Okay.
Motion
Since I
passes.
have done that
No,
many
that's-
times, so. Doesn't not pass.
Is it majority?
Yeah,
or-
text frauds. Oh, wait. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have 5 members. Which is quorum.
We have.
Oh, yeah,
quorum,
so
and the majority of the
yeah,
quorum voted for it.
Sorry, my fault.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, is that true? We
Yes.
have quorum.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's
that's the
not
number.
true. Yeah, that's true.
Of the
There's
quorum we
quorum,
have,
yes.
the majority.
Yeah, quorum,
voted.
yeah. Quorum. Yeah. Oh, so
Oh,
you
you
voted,
voted.
you're done. And we have one more vote.
Another one.
Oh, one more vote?
Let me see. This is on 39th Street. I want to get this through.
Okay. Okay, motion passes, right? Okay, great. Yeah.
Okay, guys ready? Riley, I was making a motion. It's got a long one. Where the MTA bus is the most accessible and equitable mode of transportation in New York City, and where Sunnyside Community Services has long served our district by providing essential programs to all, including the most vulnerable and in need, and serves a large population of seniors and the differently abled. And whereas the Q32, Q60 bus stop at Queens Boulevard and 39th Street has stood on the northeast corner for many years, offering a transit stop near Sunnyside Community Services with zero conflict with automobiles. Whereas there are no accessible train stations near Sunnyside Community Services, even after the elevators will be installed at the 33rd Street and 46th Street stations, several blocks and crossings away. And whereas the DOT and MTA had resolved to move the bus stop across 39th Street, a two-way truck route and harried crossing with automobiles and micromobility vehicles turning from Queens Boulevard. And whereas the many clients of Sunnyside Community Services have requested the bus stop remain where it has been, and whereas we have been grateful that DOT has been receptive to the community's fears and made the crossing at 39th Street safer. And whereas we have requested further safety improvements at 39th Street, especially a mid-block crossing far from turning vehicles, as well as raised crosswalks and a leading pedestrian interval at the traffic signals. And whereas the cause of the move is the construction of a bus boarding island at this location, which we are in support of, as it will organize bus, bike, and automobile traffic and make the roadway safer for all. And whereas the construction of a bus boarding island at the northeast corner of Queens Boulevard and 39th Street requires capital funding to relocate street utilities and manhole. Now therefore be it resolved that Queens Community Board 2 requests a feasibility study for building a bus boarding island on Queens Boulevard in 39th Place at the northwest corner, thus retaining the safety improvements of a far side bus boarding island, as well as keeping the bus stop on the block nearest Sunnyside Community Services. And be it further resolved that Queens CB2 requests capital for this project if it is feasible, and be it finally resolved that DOT continue to monitor the safety of the crossing on 39th Street at Queens Boulevard, as the community here has loudly and tenaciously decried the new dangers presented by forcing a vulnerable population to cross this treacherous path. Seconded. Discussion.
No,
I don't know.
but we went through this already. too.
We went through this. If you don't want to,
It's been forever.
I want to do my due diligence to community services and bring
Okay.
this motion. So discuss if you want.
I'm leaving.
I'm gonna vote in support of it.
Yeah.
I will just say that for our absent members, sadly, Roz and Corey, that their main thing is that the new stop is safer. The old stop is less safe. But my suggestion is moving into 39th Place, where it is still a far side bus boarding island, which retains the safety and also retains the block that it's on. Requesting only a feasibility study, and if that study is good, then requesting capital funding.
I support that.
Yeah, Okay, only requesting a feasibility study.
All
Call
in
the
favor?
question?
Yes.
All in favor? All right.
Yes.
Motion passes. Thank you.
Take care.
Okay.
That's okay.
I was surprised last month when,
I like.
nobody wanted it.
I appreciate your thoroughness. I find it very helpful. I like more research and context.
Yeah.
Rather than less,
Yeah.
so please continue to make those.
Thank you. That was tough. I had to work on that a lot today, because I was like, I know exactly what the community services needs, and I know what DOT wants. I don't know what this, I know what the board wants, but I don't know how to word it in a way. So we are asking for a feasibility study to see
Yeah.
if this is safer and to continue monitoring the safeness there. Okay.
If Randy comes back in a couple of minutes, then we'll still have quorum if anybody wants to
Yeah.
wait, right?
Sorry, guys. 1, 2.
Hey, this is really fast compared to the last. It's like.
I think we should have a limit.
If you have 4 out of 8 people, is that a quorum?
No. What do we have?
Well, Patricia's a public member, so.
Yeah.
She's a voting member.
She is a voting member. I thought public members are voting members. But yes, they are. No, I always thought that they're not.
We'll vote on the bylaws on Thursday.
What does the bylaw say? I forgot.
I was told that public members are not voting, but we include her in discussion and, yeah. What does
I
that
don't
say?
know.
Yeah,
Really? What do the old bylaws say?
I know, I would have.
Here, take a look.
All right, the old bylaws, right?
2022.
Yeah.
I think we need a retreat or something.
We do. I agree.
A board retreat.
Yeah.
I think we need to, have a budget for a session on Robert's rules for the whole board. I stole that idea from Eric Marber. He had the idea that we should use our extra budget for that.
Oh, yeah.
That is a
I
great.
mean, I do not enforce Robert's rules here. There's a lot of crosstalk that didn't exist before.
I just think we should maybe set a limit. I never thought this before, but it was also because we had different office staff. And it was really hard to get information in the board members, so I feel like now. A lot of the, because the work of the committee has to be done on the committee meetings, we should probably have an allotted time for public comment, and at the end of that time, it's over and we move into our regular meeting. And I think that for, folks that have issues that they want to talk about, they should be encouraged to contact the office, on complaints and other things, because I feel like now, especially now, especially with our office, with like Raphael, we find out and we hear from the public, Bishop. And so we know what's going on.
Yeah.
So,
Well, people do send in long emails and
Yeah.
then I ask them to make a public comment just so that they can answer questions. 'Cause a lot of times, okay, they've sent the office a long email. I've
Right.
read it and I don't want to present it to you guys because I don't know the issue.
no, right,
So I-
that
you
makes
know.
sense. No, but
So,
then,
yeah.
I think some people come and it winds up.
Yeah.
We can't have 20 people talk.
Yeah. What is,
I'm impressed by how you drank that coffee, Raphael. Was it?
This is like my first cup of coffee. You'll always see me with a cup of coffee.
You're,
Always.
if of that size, are you drinking like Chinese?
No, it says.
No, I'm taking
Public members
espressos.
to
like,
vote and act in
cups.
accordance with their understanding of the community.
Randy's back.
So they can vote.
Randy's back.
their vote count?
Yes, because the
Hey.
public is expected to vote and act in accordance.
Welcome back.
Hi, everyone.
Sometimes I'm.
Hey, Randy, welcome
anxious
back. We're
for my
gonna speed
coffee.
through a couple things. We just, we passed, support for the e-bike battery program. And
Great.
I'm going to make a motion, to support DOT's proposal for new parking regulations and lane regulations on Center Boulevard, Second Street, 57th Avenue and 54th Avenue as presented to us tonight. Seconded?
Second.
Seconded by Maury. Discussion? Here we would make any amendments.
Can we add the open street consideration?
What is that?
To add that
Oh.
to 56th Avenue potentially, or look at the feasibility of that.
Was that if the
Yeah.
other street, if the school wants to do it?
Yes, the school wants to do it, or in the community there on 56th Avenue is a suggestion.
Does it have to have the school agreement or like the community? They just have to have community people that are willing to operate it, right?
I think with the school streets, the school is the sponsoring organization
Oh, got
of
it.
the open streets. And so the school has to sponsor. Yeah.
Do you accept that friendly amendment?
That was my motion. I'm sorry. I accept that friendly amendment. Out of order, I'm out of order. And then, also an amendment to request, removing automobile access to the greenway by use of bollards, boulders, or other physical means.
And then when you say come back, that means I can.
Yeah, I wish, I accept that.
I accept that.
Okay, any other
Can-
discussion?
Can I offer a friendly amendment?
Sure.
One of the residents also asked about loading zones, and could we ask them to study any loading zones for both parents, but also I think for deliveries, because that's also a source of double parking in that area.
Sure, I accept. All right.
Yeah, I accept.
Call the question. Restate the motion. Grant, no. So motion to support the DOT's, parking and travel lane, regulations as presented on Center Boulevard, Second Street, 57th Avenue and 54th Avenue as presented to this committee tonight. With the requests that, the possibility of a 56th Avenue open street remain open with participation with the school. What school is that?
PS 384.
PS 384. And also that DOT restrict automobile access to the greenway by physical means, bollard, boulder, or other. And to study multiple locations of loading zones to facilitate deliveries and school drop-offs. All right, all in favor? Great, great. Motion passes?
It does.
All right, Randy, we have your motion and we're done. You wanna
Perfect. Oh man, it's really long.
I can read it. You want me to read
Yeah.
it?
Yeah, you go ahead.
All right, and I think you guys have it in front of you. Draft resolution regarding safety improvements to the Pulaski Bridge, protected bike lane Queens approach. This is a motion.
Do you
Whereas-
want to create a motion or a letter? I don't really
It's a-
care either way.
It's a motion to send a letter. And in the past, I was burned by previous district management who said that I needed everyone to vote. And I think it's just stronger that way anyway. It's not just me sending a letter,
Okay.
but actually the committee agrees to it.
Great, thank you. Sorry for the interruption.
Yeah, we're agreeing to the resolution. It's a resolution to send a letter. I don't know what else we can do.
Is it a letter or it's just?
What is it?
I mean, basically, I want them to be able to protect that entry in the Queens entry into the Pulaski Bridge, and I want them to need to be more than flex posts. And
Yeah, so
it
when I say a
needs-
letter, I really mean a resolution. With
Yeah.
every time we
Yeah.
do this, I say that we have resolved to do this.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is a resolution made by this committee. I am making a motion to make a resolution. Whereas the Pulaski Bridge is a critical transportation connection between Queens and Brooklyn, used daily by thousands of cyclists, pedestrians, transit riders, and motorists traveling between Long Island City and Greenpoint. And whereas the protected bicycle lane on the Queens approach to the Pulaski Bridge is an essential part of New York City's bicycle network and serves commuters, delivery workers, recreational riders, and residents accessing schools, parks, transit, and employment centers. And whereas New York City's Vision Zero initiative commits the city to eliminating traffic deaths and serious injuries through street designs and prioritize safety, predictability, and the reduction of conflict points between road users. And whereas the current entrance configuration of the protected bicycle lane on the Queens side of Pulaski Bridge relies heavily on flexible delineator posts or flex posts and painted markings that have proven insufficient to prevent unauthorized vehicle encroachment into the bicycle facility. And whereas community members have documented and reported motor vehicles driving, parking, or turning into the protected bicycle lane, creating dangerous conditions for cyclists and undermining the intended safety benefits of the protected facility. And whereas physical separation is a core principle of protected bicycle infrastructure, and the effectiveness of such infrastructure is diminished when barriers are mountable, easily damaged, or visually ambiguous to motorists. And whereas the New York City Department of Transportation has successfully implemented quick build street safety improvements throughout the city using modular and cost-effective materials, including concrete barriers, jersey barriers, precast curbs, hardened center lines, epoxy gravel treatments, rubber curb systems, armadillos, vertical delineators, and other interim safety infrastructure. And whereas quick build safety treatments allow for rapid implementation and evaluation, while longer-term capital improvements are planned and funded. And whereas improving the entrance geometry and physical protection of the Pulaski Bridge bicycle lane would support safer cycling access between boroughs, encourage sustainable transportation, and further New York City's climate, public health, and Vision Zero goals. Therefore, be it resolved that Community Board 2 calls upon the New York City Department of Transportation to study and implement immediate safety improvements to the Queenside entrance of the Pulaski Bridge protected bicycle lane. And be it further resolved that Community Board 2 requests New York City DOT evaluate whether the current approach geometry unintentionally encourages illegal or mistaken vehicle movements into the bicycle facility and redesign the entrance accordingly. And be it further resolved that Community Board 2 supports expedited implementation timelines for safety improvements consistent with Vision Zero principles and encourages the New York City DOT to treat the location as a priority safety concern before a serious injury or fatality occurs. And be it finally resolved that copies of this resolution be transmitted to the Commissioner of the New York City Department of Transportation, Councilmember Julie Wong, the Borough President, and other relevant elected officials and agencies. Randy, you want to second that?
Oh, let Randy say. Well, no,
Well, that was
Randy, it's
Randy's
technically
motion.
your
Although
motion,
I read it.
but you read it.
Yeah,
So-
you want to second
so
it?
You should say, well, I know, anybody can. You want a second?
Yeah, sure, second.
Okay, thank you, Isabel. Isabel has seconded. Discussion?
Who made the motion?
Randy made the motion and asked me to read it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Because
That
he-
way it can be quiet and kids can sleep.
Gotcha.
Perfect.
Discussion? I think it needs more.
Thank
I'm
you.
gonna vote in support of this. I think it's well written. It's exactly what is needed. I like the focus, how you clearly talk about how people can unintentionally do the wrong thing, which is, you know, a fundamental of usability and wayfinding and issues like that. So I think, you know, you want to, the essence of usability is helping people not make mistakes. And if they can be catastrophic or deadly, like we've heard in recent days on our roads, this is something that can correct that. So I will fully support this resolution and look forward to it being sent to our elected officials in the DOT.
Not gonna change your mind. Thank you. Any other discussion? No, thank you. It looks, it's very clearly written. It has a very, very clear ask. So call the question. Restate the motion.
I don't think we need.
I don't think we need to. All in favor? All right.
The resolutions have to have a roll call. I don't know.
Unanimously.
Okay.
We haven't done one yet.
I don't know.
But in future we will.
Well, we might not need to. I think we're all getting tired.
All right.
Agreed.
Okay, any other motions? Motion to adjourn,
Motion to adjourn.
seconded, seconded by Osman.
Nice.
All right, all in favor? Thank you so much. Thank you guys.
Have a good summer. Oh, see you on
enjoy the
Thursday.
months off. See you Thursday.
Yeah, Thursday.